Chapter 1456. Ancient Desolate Realm of Gods, Blue Ocean Bay, Sky Feather Island. Buzz. The sky above the Exchange Spiritual Hall suddenly surged with a dreamy color. Then, a figure appeared from within. "We're here." Zhao Feng opened his eyes, a look of surprise on his face. Before using teleportation, he was still a little worried that an accident might happen. Exchange Spiritual Hall. Zhao Feng looked down at the Exchange Spiritual Hall. When he first came to the ancient desolate realm of gods, he was on Sky Feather Island. Later on, he represented the blazing fire golden sheep race in participating in the competition for the Exchange Spiritual Hall and won. It was precisely because of this that he had offended the Sky Feather Island Lord's faction. I wonder how the blazing fire golden sheep race and the green jade sheep race are doing. Zhao Feng thought to himself as he prepared to leave. When he first came to the ancient desolate realm of gods, he was alone and didn't know anything. It was Yu Lin of the green jade sheep race who took him along. The blazing fire golden sheep race was his first home in the ancient desolate realm of gods. However, Zhao Feng suddenly discovered something unusual. The guards of the Exchange Spiritual Hall are from the Shark Tooth race. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. The Shark Tooth race was also a powerful race on Sky Feather Island. When he left Sky Feather Island, he killed the blue-eyed ice wolf patriarch, and the Exchange Spiritual Hall returned to the blazing fire golden sheep race. However, most of the guards of the Exchange Spiritual Hall were from the Shark Tooth race. With a sweep of his divine sense, Zhao Feng discovered that the expert overseeing this Exchange Spiritual Hall was also a member of the Shark Tooth clan. "I wonder who you are, and what do you need from me?" Within the Exchange Spiritual Hall, the true god of the Shark Tooth race was stunned. Just now, he was suddenly swept by a divine sense. At that moment, he felt that all of his secrets had been discovered by the other party. With his experience as a true god, the owner of this consciousness was definitely a powerful true god. In the secret chamber, Zhao Feng's figure suddenly appeared. The Shark Tooth elder took a deep breath and looked at Zhao Feng. His expression froze for a moment, and a thoughtful look appeared on his face. Suddenly, the old man's expression changed drastically, and he jumped up with a terrified expression. Zhao Feng." Back then, the Sky Feather Island Lord had invited all the factions on the island to surround and kill Zhao Feng. The Shark Tooth clan was one of them, and he was one of the true gods who had tried to kill Zhao Feng. However, he had been lucky enough to survive. However, Zhao Feng's strength was deeply engraved in his heart. Moreover, Zhao Feng had ignored the array formation and teleported directly to his room. This terrifying divine ability caused the true gods of the Shark Tooth race to tremble in fear. "Senior Zhao, spare me." The true god of the Shark Tooth race kneeled to the ground with a thud. "This Exchange Spiritual Hall belongs to the Shark Tooth clan?" Zhao Feng said calmly. It wasn't a big deal if the owner of the Exchange Spiritual Hall changed hands, but the competition for the Exchange Spiritual Hall was held once every 1,000 years. In other words, the Shark Tooth clan had obtained the Exchange Spiritual Hall through other means. We worked together to deal with the blazing fire golden sheep race and force them to hand over the Exchange Spiritual Hall. The Shark Tooth race elder trembled, and after hesitating for a moment, he clenched his teeth and spoke. Even if he didn't say anything, Zhao Feng could easily find out everything. Senior Zhao, our Shark Tooth race didn't want to do this. This was the will of the higher-ups. The Shark Tooth race elder immediately began to explain and plead. The higher-ups? Above Sky Feather Island was Blue Ocean Bay, and the ruler of Blue Ocean Bay was the Golden Jade race. Zhao Feng couldn't help but think back to the situation when he left the Gulong Zone. Back then, he had turned the entire Gulong Zone upside down, and countless factions were searching for him. It wasn't hard to find out that Zhao Feng had left Sky Feather Island. The blazing fire golden sheep race, which was related to him, had definitely been interrogated by the Golden Jade race. Even if Zhao Feng wasn't related to the blazing fire golden sheep race, Zhao Feng's matter had been exposed, and he had become a wanted criminal of the Gulong Zone. Thus, the invisible protection he had given the blazing fire golden sheep race naturally vanished. Because of this, The other races of Sky Feather Island boldly joined forces to deal with the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. First, the major factions forced the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race to hand over the Exchange Spiritual Hall. After the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race patriarch was killed by Zhao Feng, the Shark Tooth race became the strongest faction in the area and smoothly took control of the Exchange Spiritual Hall. Zhao Feng coldly snorted as he sent out a surge of soul intent. If it really was the will of the higher-ups, the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race would have ceased to exist long ago. This also meant that all of this was just the selfishness of the other races. Thump. The Shark Tooth race elder's soul was obliterated, and his body fell to the ground. Swish. After killing the Shark Tooth race expert, Zhao Feng used Spatial Blink to leave the Exchange Spiritual Hall. 4 factions of Sky Feather Island were gathered outside the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. True God Skyfire, we came from so far away, but you didn't even come out to welcome us. Isn't that a little too rude? A chubby middle-aged man from the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race chuckled. Although the patriarch of the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race had been killed, the race had a deep foundation and wouldn't fall so quickly. Haha, are you not welcoming us? A true god expert from the Emerald Green Feather race stepped forward. Swish. In a flash of fiery light, a white-haired elder appeared in the sky. Next to the elder were several other figures, the 5 elders of the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. The other members of the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race charged forward. My race has already handed over the Exchange Spiritual Hall. What else do you want? True God Skyfire, the patriarch of the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race, had an extremely grim expression. Several decades ago, the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race had no choice but to hand over the Exchange Spiritual Hall when the 6 nearby factions came to pressure them. True God Skyfire, you gave the Exchange Spiritual Hall to the Shark Tooth race, but did the other factions get anything? The chubby middle-aged man from the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race had a cunning look in his eyes. What do you want? True God Skyfire's face was ashen. Hee, why don't you take out the low-quality god crystal mine under your feet? The true god of the Emerald Green Feather race wickedly chuckled. If you agree, we won't disturb you in the future and will live in peace. Another true god expert said, don't even think about it. What do you take the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race for? True God Skyfire immediately rebuked. In the last few decades, the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race had rapidly grown stronger and undergone enormous changes. All of this was because of the low-quality god crystal mine under their feet. Giving up the Exchange Spiritual Hall is our greatest concession. Don't even think about anything else. The First Elder also stepped forward. At this moment, the First Elder had broken through to become a true god. It was precisely because of this that the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race had some confidence. Are you trying to incite conflict between the various factions and start a war? The chubby middle-aged man's eyes narrowed into slits, but they exuded a cold light. You! True God Skyfire was enraged, but there was nothing he could do. Even if this matter got out of hand and reached the Golden Jade race, the Golden Jade race wouldn't help the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race because of the matter with Zhao Feng. If True God Skyfire doesn't mind, we will personally mine the ore. The chubby middle-aged man led the Blue-Eyed Ice Wolf race behind him into the territory of the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race. The eyes of True God Skyfire and the 5 elders blazed with flames, but they didn't move. Within the blazing Fire Golden Sheep race group, damn, if Big Brother Zhao Feng was here, they definitely wouldn't dare to do this. A young youth from the Green Jade Sheep race said hatefully. This youth was none other than young Master Lu Yun of the Green Jade Sheep race. Don't speak nonsense. Yulin of the Green Jade Sheep race said in a low tone. She only had a rough idea of what was going on with Zhao Feng, but Lu Yun didn't know anything. Although she hoped to see Zhao Feng again, she didn't want Zhao Feng to come back and die. You're talking about Zhao Feng? He's a wanted criminal of the Gulong Zone right now. He still dares to come back? The chubby middle-aged man laughed. But he barely finished speaking when a cold voice came from behind him. Are you talking about me? Who's there? The chubby middle-aged man felt his hair stand on end and retreated. Just who was it that had appeared behind him without him noticing? He had actually not sensed it at all. After the chubby middle-aged man retreated, Zhao Feng's figure appeared in front of everyone. Although the color of his hair had changed, those familiar with him could still recognize him at a glance. Zhao Feng. Real God Tianhua was shocked and he cried out involuntarily. Big brother Zhao Feng. Lu Yun immediately cheered. It really is him. Why did he come back? Yu Lin Er's expression froze, and then panic appeared on her face. Zhao Feng was a wanted criminal of many major factions of the Gulong Zone. Zhao Feng, you actually dared to come back? The chubby middle-aged man's eyes bulged in shock. In terms of strength, none of them were a match for Zhao Feng. Why wouldn't I dare? Zhao Feng looked at the chubby middle-aged man and directly asked. Senior Zhao will leave now. We'll keep the news of your return a secret. The emerald green feather race patriarch had a warm smile on his face. He believed that Zhao Feng had definitely sneaked back and did not dare to be too ostentatious. Okay, then keep it a secret for me. Zhao Feng coldly laughed as he looked at the two. In a flash, a powerful soul intent surged forward. Boom. In terms of souls, the two true gods felt like they were in a lightning tribulation hell. Endless lightning crashed down and instantly obliterated their souls. Quite a few members nearby were injured by the shockwaves of this soul intent and had their souls destroyed. Thump. In a flash, two true gods and half of the members below the true god realm dropped to the ground, their auras completely gone. But in the eyes of outsiders, Zhao Feng had only glanced at them. One glance had instantly killed a whole group. I didn't control it well enough. In truth, Zhao Feng had only planned to kill the two true gods, but these people were far too weak. Zhao Feng was already doing his best to control the God Lord intent, but even a tiny bit of it was enough to obliterate them. I didn't control it well enough? One of the true God experts trembled in fear. If he didn't control it well enough, a single glance had instantly killed half of the group. If he didn't control it well enough, everyone present wouldn't even be enough to fill the gaps between Zhao Feng's teeth. Senior, spare us. In a flash, everyone present knelt on the ground. On the other hand, the blazing fire golden sheep race was dumbfounded, unable to calm down. True God Skyfire, you can deal with these people as you please. Zhao Feng looked at the blazing fire golden sheep race patriarch. It was because of him that the blazing fire golden sheep race was being targeted by the other races. He didn't know how much the blazing fire golden sheep race had suffered in this period of time, so he gave the blazing fire golden sheep race the right to deal with them. The blazing fire golden sheep race patriarch immediately stepped forward in shock. At this moment, the situation had reversed. The three factions that had come with such ferocious momentum were now kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. Chapter 1457. At this moment, the situation was reversed. The three major forces that had come in a menacing and overbearing manner were now kneeling on the ground, trembling and begging for mercy. Unforgivable. Real God Tianhua swept his furious gaze across the crowd and spat out 4 words. The blazing fire golden sheep race had been isolated near Sky Feather Island. The other forces had been slowly eating away at the blazing fire golden sheep race over the past few years. One day, the blazing fire golden sheep race would be destroyed. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, strength was everything. At this moment, they were only forced by Zhao Feng to kneel and beg for mercy. Once Zhao Feng left or was captured, True God Skyfire was sure that these people would continue to attack the blazing fire golden sheep race. For the survival of the force, real God Tianhua would not be lenient. Moreover, these people knew that Zhao Feng had returned, so they must all be killed. Kill! The entire blazing fire golden sheep race surged forward with killing intent. No, run! Faced with such a situation, the remaining members of the 3 major forces fled in panic. Real God Skyfire and the Great Elder were the first to rush to the front and seal off the enemy's path of retreat. Kill! The entire blazing fire golden sheep race furiously attacked. They had endured the humiliation of the other forces for far too long, and at this moment, all of it erupted. Ever since the blazing fire golden sheep race took control of the exchange spiritual hall and obtained the low-grade god crystal mine, their overall strength had increased drastically. They were now ranked in the top 5 of the forces near Sky Feather Island. In less than a moment, the number of enemies decreased sharply. Run! Staying here would only lead to death. The remaining people fled with all their might. Some managed to escape, but they were still chased down by the blazing fire golden sheep race. Brother Xiaofeng, you're finally back. Lu Yun of the Green Jade sheep race arrived before Xiaofeng with admiration in his eyes. Back then, he had been extremely respectful towards Xiaofeng. Now that he had returned, Xiaofeng's strength had surpassed everyone's imagination. Xiaofeng, leave this place quickly. Real God Tianhua immediately went forward with an anxious expression. Although the blazing fire golden sheep race had killed all of these people, someone had definitely spread the news. In actual fact, real God Tianhua was puzzled as to why Xiaofeng didn't take action immediately to kill everyone. In that case, these people wouldn't even have the chance to send a message. With Xiaofeng's abilities, real God Tianhua would not doubt that he could kill everyone within 1 or 2 breaths. There's no rush. I'll stay here for a while. After saying that, Xiaofeng walked toward the interior of the blazing fire golden sheep race. What? Real God Tianhua was stunned. Xiaofeng was a wanted criminal by many of the Gulong region's major factions. Yet, at this moment, he actually didn't hurry to leave. In addition, the blazing fire golden sheep race had been interrogated by the golden jade race before. The golden jade race had only let the blazing fire golden sheep race off after discovering that they weren't related to Xiaofeng. But if Xiaofeng stayed here, the blazing fire golden sheep race would be dragged in as well. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Xiaofeng seemed to know real God Tianhua's worries and spoke again. Of course, other than true God Tianhua and a few elders who were worried, the rest of the blazing fire golden sheep race had no idea and were overjoyed. Xiaofeng's goal in staying here was very simple. He wanted to help the blazing fire golden sheep race create a few more true gods. In this way, the blazing fire golden sheep race's status in Sky Feather Island would be unshakable. What? Help us break into the true god realm? The second elder and the others were stunned. This was especially true for the second elder. When Xiaofeng first came to the blazing fire golden sheep race, the two of them had quite a bit of conflict. Now that Xiaofeng said that he would help him break into the true god realm, he really did find it a little hard to believe. But they had no idea that helping a demigod break through was an extremely easy task for a half-step god lord like Xiaofeng. In less than 3 days, the 4 elders, with Xiaofeng's help, all broke into the true god realm. But this wasn't enough. The Sky Feather Island Lord was a rank 4 true god, and his faction also had rank 3 true gods. This was how he was able to peacefully rule over Sky Feather Island. In the following days, Xiaofeng helped the 5 elders improve their talent and potential. This way, their martial path would be even smoother. The patriarch was nearing the end of his lifespan and didn't have much potential, making it very difficult for him to improve himself. Thus, Xiaofeng gave him a precious resource that could increase his lifespan. On the 10th day, Xiaofeng felt that it was about time, so he left behind some resources and prepared to leave. But at this moment, broom! Many powerful auras appeared around the blazing fire golden sheep race. Not good. The shark tooth race, the blue-eyed ice wolf race, the flowing snake race. The Grand Elder scanned with his divine sense and grimaced. At this moment, almost all the races of Sky Feather Island had gathered, and there were more than 20 true gods. This enormous faction was enough to instantly exterminate the blazing fire golden sheep race. But they also knew that these factions had come because of Xiaofeng. Blazing fire golden sheep race, you dare to harbor Xiaofeng? It looks to me like you're planning to follow Xiaofeng and defect to this place. Angry voices came from all directions. The rise of the blazing fire golden sheep race was not something they wanted to see. This time, he might be able to use this opportunity to directly eradicate him. Xiaofeng. True God Skyfire and the elders looked at Xiaofeng. What would Xiaofeng do in this situation? However, Xiaofeng remained motionless. He sat in his original spot with an indifferent expression, as if he hadn't seen anything at all. To the surprise of the blazing fire golden sheep race, although they were surrounded by many factions, none of them dared to act recklessly. They even seemed to be intentionally keeping a certain distance from the blazing fire golden sheep race, as if they were wary of something. At this moment, bzz, boom, boom, a golden light appeared in the distant horizon, and a rumbling sound could be heard. Not good. This bloodline phenomenon must be from the Golden Jade race. True God Skyfire's face instantly paled. The Golden Jade race was a 4.5-star faction and the ruler of Blue Ocean Bay. Within its territory, it had 10 territories similar to Sky Feather Island. Respectful greetings to the Golden Jade race. All the members of the surrounding factions immediately got down on one knee to welcome the 4.5-star Golden Jade race. The experts of the Golden Jade race descended in a flash. The bodies of the 15 figures flickered with a noble golden jade glow, incomparably dazzling. The enormous aura they exuded made all the 4-star factions of Sky Feather Island not dare to breathe too loudly. Those below the True God level found it rather difficult to breathe. They're all True God experts, and the weakest is a rank 4 True God. True God Skyfire trembled, cold sweat pouring down his back. The weakest of these 15 experts was a rank 4 True God. The dignified elder in the middle was someone that no one dared to look directly at. This person is Zhao Feng. Of the 3 5-star factions of the Gulong Zone, 2 of them have offered astronomical rewards. Quite a few True Gods in the Golden Jade race were extremely excited. Once they captured Zhao Feng, the astronomical reward would raise the entire Golden Jade race to a whole new level. They knew quite a bit about Zhao Feng. They had heard that not even an ordinary rank 4 True God was a match for Zhao Feng in Stellar Tower's 5-star mountain. After so many years, Zhao Feng had definitely become a True God, and his strength could not be underestimated. Thus, all the upper echelon members of the Golden Jade race had been mobilized this time, including their patriarch, Ancient God Light Jade. Zhao Feng, you walked out of Blue Ocean Bay's Sky Feather Island, but your actions have shamed us. Today, the Golden Jade race will personally capture you. Ancient God Light Jade righteously declared. Celestial Gold Array. Ancient God Light Jade immediately bellowed. The 14 True Gods around him immediately began to move. The Golden Jade race has even used the Celestial Gold Array? The nearby Sky Feather Island factions were all stunned. Just how strong had Zhao Feng become that an ancient god of the Golden Jade race would personally take action and even use the Celestial Gold Array? A few moments later, a complicated offensive array had taken shape. 14 golden jade swords floated above the heads of the 14 True Gods, exuding an intimidating aura. In a corner of the array, this brat truly doesn't know his place. An elder dressed in a jade robe coldly laughed. He was none other than the leader of the Golden Jade race team in the wild ancient secret dimension, True God Tianhua. Back in the secret dimension, Zhao Feng had the help of a rank 5 True God, the phoenix-tailed bird, and he had suffered greatly. Ancient God Light Jade gave the order, and he and the 14 True Gods attacked Zhao Feng at the same time. In a flash, an earth-shattering pressure pressed down on Zhao Feng. Swish! Zhao Feng blinked out of the blazing fire golden sheep race. You're only using this kind of toy to embarrass yourself? At this moment, Zhao Feng finally spoke. Kaboom! These simple words stirred up massive waves in the world, creating a powerful shockwave that surged toward the Golden Jade race team. Boom! Bang! Crash! The celestial gold array collapsed, and the 14 True Gods were forced back, vomiting blood. 2 of the weaker members were even jolted to death by this energy. This is impossible. True God Tianhua's face was ghastly pale as he blurted out in shock. Back when he clashed with Zhao Feng, his opponent had only been a quasi-god. But now, a single word from Zhao Feng was enough to heavily injure all the upper echelon members of the Golden Jade race. Thump, thump. Ancient God Light Jade was forced to take several steps back before he stopped and stared in shock at Zhao Feng. With a single sentence, he had shattered the celestial gold array and injured an ancient god. You still want to capture me? Zhao Feng stared at ancient godlike jade. At this moment, ancient godlike jade felt like 100,000 mountains were pressing down on his head. The divine power and blood in his body were almost frozen, and he couldn't move. No. Ancient godlike jade barely managed to squeeze out this word. He should have long ago understood that Zhao Feng was no ordinary individual, given that he had offended so many factions of the Gulong Zone. It was laughable that he believed that the Golden Jade race could capture Zhao Feng. With his strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to destroy the entire Golden Jade race. Compared to the Golden Jade race, the surrounding factions of Sky Feather Island were even more stunned, and their minds buzzed. In their eyes, an ancient god expert was already unreachable and powerful. But at this moment, all the upper echelon members of the Golden Jade race, including the ancient god expert, couldn't even take a single blow from Zhao Feng. No, this junior had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Senior Zhao, please spare the Golden Jade race. The Golden Jade race patriarch and ancient godlike Jade immediately kneeled on the ground. At this moment, all the nearby factions were kneeling in the air. Zhao Feng was simply too powerful. Not even the ancient god of the Golden Jade race could do anything to him. Once he began a massacre, everyone would die. All the members of the blazing fire Golden Sheep race stared in shock at this sight. They had originally been worried about Zhao Feng's life. But now, all the factions of Sky Feather Island, including the ruler of Blue Ocean Bay, were kneeling and begging for mercy. Chapter 1458. At this moment, all the factions of Sky Feather Island, including the ruler of Blue Ocean Bay, the Golden Jade race, were kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. I had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I beg Senior Zhao to spare the Golden Jade race. Ancient godlike Jade, who was many years older than Zhao Feng, actually called Zhao Feng Senior. You want me to spare the Golden Jade race? Then tell me first, besides the Golden Jade race, who else knows that I've returned? Zhao Feng questioned. The people of Yellow Dragon Pavilion were in my race at the time and happened to know. Ancient godlike Jade hesitated for a few moments before summoning up his courage. After saying this, ancient godlike Jade trembled and looked in fear at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng closed his eyes and fell into deep thought. He had originally thought that if only the Golden Jade race knew about this, he would just have to seal the Golden Jade race's mouth. He hadn't expected that the 4.5-star faction next to the Golden Jade race, Yellow Dragon Pavilion, would also know of this matter. In short, the more people that knew, the more troublesome it would be. Then I'll go to the Golden Jade race as a guest. Zhao Feng opened his eyes and walked toward ancient godlike Jade. From the looks of it, there was no way to hide the fact that he had returned. Since that was the case, he would deal with it head-on. Ancient godlike Jade was stunned. Just what did Zhao Feng mean by this? Okay. I'll lead the way for Senior. Ancient godlike Jade immediately stood up and walked in front of Zhao Feng. The other true gods of the Golden Jade race followed behind, not even daring to breathe too loudly. Once Zhao Feng and the Golden Jade race members left, the other factions breathed sighs of relief. Fortunately, Zhao Feng was not a vengeful and bloodthirsty person, or else they would all have died without a grave. Patriarch, will Zhao Feng be fine? The second elder couldn't help but ask. He had a grudge with Zhao Feng in the past, but Zhao Feng had forgiven him and helped him break through, improving his aptitude. It could be said that Zhao Feng had turned his life around. This made him feel rather guilty and worried. I'm not sure either. The patriarch slightly shook his head. He knew a little about what Zhao Feng had done. It was rumored that Zhao Feng had imprisoned many geniuses from major forces, including a 5-star force. 4-star factions were under the jurisdiction of 4.5-star factions, and in the eyes of peak 4-star factions, a 4.5-star faction could not withstand a single blow. Meanwhile, 5-star forces were undoubtedly the overlords of a region, second only to God's domain's Holy Land. Less than 10 days later, Zhao Feng and ancient godlike Jade arrived at the Golden Jade race. Isn't that person the Zhao Feng wanted by many forces in the Gulong Zone? It's really him. I didn't expect him to dare come back. Many disciples of the Golden Jade race were astonished. Humph, Zhao Feng, You still fell into the hands of the Golden Jade race in the end. A handsome young man in the crowd was overjoyed. He was none other than Quasi-God Di Lin, the one who had suffered greatly at the hands of Zhao Feng in the wild ancient secret dimension. Later on, he had true God Tianhua deal with Zhao Feng, but he still returned in defeat. As a quasi-god prodigy of the Golden Jade race, he had never been so humiliated before, so he bore a deep grudge against Zhao Feng. Upon returning to the inner hall of the Golden Jade race, ancient godlike Jade arranged a separate palace for Zhao Feng. The upper echelon members of the Golden Jade race immediately left. Patriarch, what should we do? True God Tianhua immediately stepped forward, his face seething with resentment. Notify the origin returning sect. Ancient godlike Jade growled. Zhao Feng had brought such humiliation to the Golden Jade race. Only by killing Zhao Feng could he vent his hatred. The origin returning sect was the strongest peak 4-star faction in the region. Quasi-God Gi, who had participated in the Gulong martial gathering, came from this sect. Quasi-God Gi was the strongest quasi-god prodigy of the origin returning sect, but he had been imprisoned by Zhao Feng. At the time, the origin returning sect was even crazier than Violet Night Hall, mobilizing almost all its manpower to search for Zhao Feng. This brat is arrogant and ignorant. Just wait for your death. True God Tianhua gave a sinister laugh. Although they couldn't capture Zhao Feng, there were still many benefits to informing the origin returning sect of this news. After taking up residence in the Golden Jade race, Zhao Feng couldn't be bothered with anything else. He entered the space-time robe and began to cultivate. Right now, he needed to make plans for breaking into the God Lord level and increase his chances of success as much as possible. Comprehending the space law means that I can cultivate the final level of the Chaos Heaven Void origin technique. The contents of the final level of this art appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. The 6th level of this art was meant for the God Lord level. By studying it a little earlier, he could consolidate his divine power and increase his chances of breaking into the God Lord level. But in the end, the 6th level was meant for God Lords. Zhao Feng had only begun to cultivate it, but he already felt that it was very difficult to make any progress. One day, Zhao Feng left his residence. With a sweep of his divine sense, he was able to see the entire situation of the Golden Jade race. The person talking to ancient godlike Jade was someone from Yellow Dragon Pavilion? Zhao Feng's eyes froze. Moreover, he felt that this person from Yellow Dragon Pavilion was rather familiar. It was apparently true God Zhongtu who had pursued him and Han Ning. Back then, Zhao Feng was only a quasi-god. When facing true God Zhongtu, he could only run. Yellow Dragon Pavilion's people have come to the Golden Jade race again? Confused, Zhao Feng concealed himself and went to the secret hall where the two were talking. Ancient godlike Jade, if the Golden Jade race is willing to help Yellow Dragon Pavilion, I will increase the benefits I offered last time by another 10%. True God Zhongtu very seriously said, forget it. The Golden Jade race doesn't want to participate in this matter. Ancient godlike Jade thought for a moment, but in the end he still refused. With Zhao Feng here, the Golden Jade race really couldn't afford to send too many people. Once the origin returning sect arrived and captured Zhao Feng, the benefits would be many times higher than what Yellow Dragon Pavilion could offer. Ancient godlike Jade, there's no need to be so ruthless. 20%, another 20%. This is Yellow Dragon Pavilion's limit. True God Zhongtu frowned and called out. This is a special time. Otherwise, I would have agreed to lend you soldiers the second time you came. Ancient godlike Jade tactfully refused. Borrow soldiers? Zhao Feng's expression froze. Borrowing troops was most likely because the Yellow Dragon Pavilion was at war. But Yellow Dragon Pavilion had captured Spirit Grass Gate, so it should have gotten even stronger. Normal factions wouldn't recklessly provoke it. So what was it that made Yellow Dragon Pavilion feel threatened or defeated and seek assistance from other factions? Could Han Ning have returned for revenge? Zhao Feng thought of this possibility. Han Ning was an Eye of Life descendant, so she probably had an important status among the disciples of the Life Sacred Land. There was a high chance that she had brought some people back to the Gulong Zone to revive Spirit Grass Gate. Who is it? The worried True God Zhongtu suddenly realized that a figure had appeared nearby and immediately jumped up from his seat. Zhao Feng. Ancient God Light Jade was also stunned. How had Zhao Feng appeared here without anyone noticing? It's you? True God Zhongtu suddenly remembered, and he was both shocked and enraged. If not for Zhao Feng, he would have killed Han Ning long ago. But True God Zhongtu did not act recklessly. Zhao Feng had been able to appear here without anyone noticing. This meant that his opponent's strength far exceeded what he could deal with. True God Zhongtu immediately sent a message. Yellow Dragon Pavilion is borrowing soldiers. What's going on? Zhao Feng immediately asked. Yellow Dragon Pavilion has gotten much stronger and is preparing to attack the other 4.5-star factions. True God Zhongtu hesitated for a few moments, seemingly rather fearful of Zhao Feng. But Zhao Feng noticed that when True God Zhongtu said this, Ancient God Light Jade's expression shifted. It was obvious that this was not the truth. Since you're not willing to speak the truth, I'll find the answer myself. Zhao Feng's expression chilled. The moment he finished speaking, a soul intent charged out. What are you doing? True God Zhongtu grimaced as he prepared to resist. But at this moment, he suddenly realized that he couldn't move. It was like he was in a pool of lightning, his soul bound by endless lightning and severed from his divine body. He could do nothing. Then, a tremendous soul will surged into his soul and saw through everything. As expected, Zhao Feng's eyes chilled. Yellow Dragon Pavilion was borrowing soldiers to deal with Spirit Grass Gate. Boom. With a thought, True God Zhongtu's soul and divine body were obliterated. On the side, Ancient God Light Jade was alarmed. In front of Zhao Feng, True God Zhongtu couldn't even self-detonate. Yellow Dragon Pavilion. Zhao Feng muttered a few words, and then his body vanished. But not long after Zhao Feng left, an oppressive energy descended upon the Golden Jade race. Ancient God Light Jade immediately charged out and looked at the three figures in the distant sky. Ancient God Light Jade, where are they? The leader of the three was a violet-robed elder, shrouded in multicolored divine light. Ancient God Qian Yuan, Zhao Feng just left for Yellow Dragon Pavilion. With your strength, he probably won't even be able to reach Yellow Dragon Pavilion before falling into your hands. Ancient God Light Jade had a smile on his face, but he was inwardly stunned. This ancient god Qian Yuan was none other than the sect master of the Origin Returning Sect, a half-step god lord expert. The two people next to him were both peak rank 9 ancient gods. He had never imagined that the Origin Returning Sect master would personally take action, and he had even brought 2 peak rank 9 ancient gods with him. Let's go! Ancient god Qian Yuan called out as he led the other two away. Back then, Ancient God Night Dragon of Violet Night Hall had died in the Xiling Zone. This matter was only known to the 5-star factions and a few top-class factions. It was precisely because the Origin Returning Sect knew of this that the sect master personally took action to ensure that nothing could go wrong. At the same time, in the forbidden ground of the Gulong Zone, in the extremely dangerous Wretched Ghost Valley, beneath Wretched Ghost Valley was an enormous faction that few people knew about. Buzz. BZZ. Several spatial ripples suddenly appeared in the previously empty palace. Swish. 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 Black-clothed figures appeared in the hall, each of them exuding the powerful energy of an ancient god. Lord Tyrant Dragon, Zhao Feng has appeared in the Golden Jade race. A peak rank 9 ancient god suddenly said. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was shocked. Whoosh! At this moment, a calamitous energy that could destroy all suddenly descended upon the hall. The hall instantly fell silent as everyone stared at the man covered in pitch-black dragon scales. Zhao Feng, you finally appeared. The black-scaled figure spoke in a hoarse and excited voice. I will personally deal with this person. All of you withdraw. The black-scaled man called out. Yes. Then, all the figures in the hall disappeared. Ninth God I, allow me to personally offer you to that lord. Chapter 1459. In the past half a year, a rather sensational event had occurred in the Gulong region's West Ridge. Spirit Grass Gate, which had been defeated by Yellow Dragon Pavilion decades ago, made a comeback and rebuilt itself. The Yellow Dragon Pavilion sensed this immediately and sent out a large number of members. The two sides started a great battle of 4.5-star forces. In the end, Spirit Grass Gate managed to block Yellow Dragon Pavilion's first wave of attacks. Afterwards, the former members of 100 Grass Gate gradually returned. Many factions even betrayed Yellow Dragon Pavilion and pledged allegiance to 100 Grass Gate. In the underground meeting hall of Spirit Grass Gate, Han Ning, I really didn't misjudge you. It's all thanks to you that Spirit Grass Gate could be rebuilt. A green-haired old man sitting high above had a gratified smile on his face. This person was the sect master of 100 Grass Gate. After 100 Grass Gate was defeated, he led a portion of his members into hiding, planning to rise again. The other upper echelons of Spirit Grass Gate also smiled and nodded, their gazes focused on a green-robed woman. The woman was particularly eye-catching in the dim hall. She exuded a pure vitality, looking like a fairy in the forest, intelligent and beautiful. Sect Master, this is what I should do. However, I still have to thank Senior Brother Xiaoho for this matter. Han Ning'er had a faint smile on her face. She looked to her side at Xiaoho Wu, who was dressed in a simple green robe and had a strong stature. Back in the spiritual race, when Zhao Feng had just become a true god, he had fought with the life-sacred lands Xiaoho Wu. Later on, when Zhao Feng sent Han Ning to the life-sacred land, Xiaoho Wu was responsible for receiving them. After all this time, Xiaoho Wu had smoothly broken into rank 7. Many thanks to the life-sacred land for being willing to help Spirit Grass Gate. The 100 Herbs sect master looked at the man beside Han Ning'er with an excited expression. For an Eye of Life descendant to appear in the sect was truly a great fortune. To be able to form a relationship with the legendary Holy Land was something that he had never dared to hope for in his entire life. Just a small matter. Xiaoho Wu waved his hand, indicating that he did not take it to heart. In truth, this was his own wish and had nothing to do with the life-sacred land. Otherwise, Yellow Dragon Pavilion would have surrendered long ago. They wouldn't have dared to continue fighting against Spirit Grass Gate. Young Master Xiaoho is too humble. If not for you, we would not have been able to contend against Yellow Dragon Pavilion. The 100 Herbs Gate Master smiled. The 100 Grass Gate's leader had been heavily injured in the battle between the two great powers and had yet to fully recover. Xiaoho Wu was a rank 7 ancient god, an Eye of Life descendant, and a disciple of the life-sacred land. It was because of this that Spirit Grass Gate was able to contend against Yellow Dragon Pavilion. At this moment, Xiaoho Wu was the hope of the entire Spirit Grass Gate, the idol of countless disciples. The higher-ups of the 100 Grass Gate hoped that Han Ning'er and Xiaoho Wu would be together. This way, the safety of the 100 Grass Gate would be guaranteed. At that moment, a ripple appeared on the barrier of the conference hall. A green shadow darted in. Reporting to Sect Master, the Yellow Dragon Pavilion is attacking again. The scout knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "Prepare for battle." The 100 Herbs Gate Master's expression changed as he immediately shouted. The next moment, the entire meeting hall became empty. All the members of Spirit Grass Gate quickly gathered. Not long after, two majestic dragon boats rode over from the distant horizon. At the top of one of the dragon boats, the tall Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master with dark yellow skin had a stern expression on his face. "Sir Xiaoho, this is a grudge between Yellow Dragon Pavilion and Spirit Grass Gate. I hope that you will not interfere." The master of the Yellow Dragon Pavilion first looked at Xiaoho Wu. Xiaoho Wu was a member of the Life-Sacred Land. If not for the fact that the Life-Sacred Land was too far away, Yellow Dragon Pavilion would have never dared to attack. On the other hand, he could also tell that Xiaoho Wu had come to help Spirit Grass Gate purely out of his own will and had nothing to do with the Life-Sacred Land. "I have already promised Junior Sister Ning, that I will take care of this matter till the end." Xiaoho Wu's face was filled with determination. Seeing Xiaoho Wu like this, the upper echelons of Spirit Grass Gate all revealed looks of joy. In their view, Xiahou Wu was definitely interested in Han Ning heir. Yellow Dragon Pavilion, Spirit Grass Gate will definitely take revenge for the past. The 100 Herbs Gate Master looked at the Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master with a cold glint in her eyes. Although he was heavily injured, Xiahou Wu was currently treating him. It wouldn't be long before he would be completely healed. Spirit Grass Gate would rise again. "Ha, I'm afraid you won't have the chance." The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master burst into laughter. This scene made the higher-ups of Spirit Grass Gate feel strange. Logically speaking, Yellow Dragon Pavilion didn't have the strength to do anything to Spirit Grass Gate. But the Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master was so confident. Had Yellow Dragon Pavilion received some powerful reinforcements? At this moment, a dreadful ghost Dao energy surged out from the distant horizon. Boom boom boom. Countless pitch-black and cold figures began to float over. Nether Ghost Race. The Spirit Grass Gate Master's face chilled. The Nether Ghost Race was one of the stronger 4.5-star factions. It had 6 ancient gods, far more than an ordinary 4.5-star faction. And now, 3 rank 7 ancient gods had arrived. The upper echelon members of Spirit Grass Gate and Xiahou Wu also turned gloomy at this sight. Xiahou Wu was powerful, but he could only deal with 2 rank 7 ancient gods at most. But now that the enemy had 3 ancient gods, they already had the advantage of crushing Spirit Grass Gate. "Young Master Xiahou, I advise you to leave. Although we won't kill you, when the time comes to fight, we won't have so many misgivings and will inevitably injure you." The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master once more looked at Xiahou Wu. At this moment, the entire battlefield was eerily silent. The members of Spirit Grass Gate felt a deep despair. Whether Xiahou Wu helped Spirit Grass Gate or not, they were no match for Yellow Dragon Pavilion. Xiahou Wu also had an extremely nasty expression. It seemed like he couldn't keep his promise to Han Ning. But at this moment, an indifferent voice came from the distance. "Han Ning, you really did come back. And Brother Xiahou, I didn't think that you would also come." This voice was very casual and broke the solemn and silent atmosphere. Yellow Dragon Pavilion and the Nether Ghost Race all turned to look. The eyes of the members of Spirit Grass Gate also flashed. This person who had suddenly arrived seemed to be a friend of Han Ning and Xiahou Wu. But when they saw Zhao Feng, they instantly paled in shock. "Zhao Feng?" The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master and the upper echelon members blurted out. The members of Spirit Grass Gate were also flabbergasted. Wasn't this the Zhao Feng who had thrown the Gulong Zone into an uproar several decades ago? Zhao Feng was wanted by many major factions, but he still dared to come back? "Zhao Feng, what did you do to my grandson, Quasi-God Mo Gue?" An ancient god of the Nether Ghost Race turned cold, killing intent surging in his eyes. Quasi-God Mo Gue was the quasi-god who had clashed with Zhao Feng before the Gulong martial gathering. Later on, he was imprisoned in the 5 Elements Palace. "Brother Zhao, why are you here?" Xiahou Wu was also extremely surprised. The life-sacred land had a rather good understanding of what had happened in the Chixing Zone. It was rumored that Zhao Feng was the owner of the 9th God Eye. After his God Eye awakened, he defeated Ancient Soul Hall and vanished. Han Ning was extremely excited to see Zhao Feng. Ever since they parted, she had not seen Zhao Feng again. When she heard that Zhao Feng possessed the 9th God Eye, she had been worried that Zhao Feng had encountered some mishap. At the same time, Zhao Feng's appearance gave the two of them a glimmer of hope. In the Xiling Zone and Chixing Zone, Zhao Feng had even defeated godlords. On the other side, Yellow Dragon Pavilion and the Nether Ghost Race had extremely gloomy expressions. Zhao Feng's strength had been extremely extraordinary back then, and he had turned the Gulong Zone upside down. Now, even Xiahou Wu referred to Zhao Feng as Brother Zhao. From this, one could see that Zhao Feng's strength had increased significantly. Don't act rashly for now. Inform the factions above of Zhao Feng's return. Someone will naturally come to deal with him. The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master was rather composed and secretly communicated with the Nether Ghost Race. "Brother Zhao, please take action and resolve this matter," Xiahou Wu said with a smile. The Spirit Grass Gate side was instantly dazed. The life-sacred lands Xiahou Wu had actually asked Zhao Feng to take action? And from Xiahou Wu's expression, he didn't seem the slightest bit worried. It was like Zhao Feng could resolve everything. Han Ning was also beaming as if she had forgotten about the war. Wait a moment. Zhao Feng flatly said. Wait a moment? Xiahou Wu was rather confused. Why wait a moment? On the other side, Yellow Dragon Pavilion and the Nether Ghost race had extremely nasty expressions on their faces as they watched Zhao Feng's group chat and laugh. Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master, let's attack together and kill Zhao Feng first. I don't believe that he can defeat us. The Nether Ghost race ancient gods had dreadful and savage expressions. But at this moment, a heaven-shaking ripple of energy came from the distant horizon. Swish. 3 silhouettes appeared in the middle of the two groups of people. Their powerful auras shook the surroundings. Origin Returning Sect, Ancient God Qian Yuan. The ancient gods of the Nether Ghost race and Yellow Dragon Pavilion blurted out in shock. They had sent the news of Zhao Feng's return to several factions, including the Origin Returning Sect, but the Origin Returning Sect shouldn't have come so quickly. Moreover, the ones who had come were the half-step God Lord Origin Returning Sect Master and 2 peak rank 9 elders. They finally realized that Zhao Feng was even stronger than they had imagined. Zhao Feng, hand over Quasi-God Gi and obediently allow yourself to be captured. Ancient God Qian Yuan paid no attention to the 3 4.5-star factions. His eyes focused on Zhao Feng as he calmly spoke. You finally arrived. Let's deal with them together. Zhao Feng smiled as he looked at the 3 members of the Origin Returning Sect. Xiahou Wu and Han Ning instantly understood what Zhao Feng meant when he said, wait. It was just a half-step God Lord, so they weren't the slightest bit worried. In contrast, Spirit Grass Gate was trembling in fear and couldn't help but retreat. The Origin Returning Sect had clearly come to make trouble for Zhao Feng. Oh, how do you want to resolve this? The Origin Returning Sect Master was taken aback. From Zhao Feng's tone, it seemed like he knew that they were coming. I naturally hope to resolve this peacefully. Zhao Feng calmly said. He had imprisoned the geniuses of many factions, but these people had all wanted to kill him and steal his treasures, so Zhao Feng had not done anything wrong. Moreover, he had placed these members in the ancient dream realm, so he naturally couldn't let them out so that they wouldn't expose his secret. Laughable. How could you compare to Quasi-God Gui? Since you won't compromise, don't blame the Origin Returning Sect. Ancient God Qian Yuan was slightly angered. In truth, a peaceful resolution was also possible, but the benefits on Zhao Feng's body were far too great. He had the space-time robe, the Staff of Death Curse, and the 5 elements in Tent Palace. If he killed Zhao Feng, he could obtain all of this. This brat deserves it. The Nether Ghost race members wickedly chuckled. The Yellow Dragon Pavilion members were also extremely happy. With the Origin Returning Sect Master personally taking action, Zhao Feng's death was assured, and Spirit Grass Gate might even be implicated. Chapter 1460. The Origin Returning Sect didn't even listen to Zhao Feng's proposal for a peaceful solution and immediately refused. Xiahou Wu and Han Ning couldn't help but sigh in worry for the Origin Returning Sect. In the Xiling Zone, Zhao Feng had defeated a God Lord, and it was rumored that he had even killed a God Lord in the Chixing Zone. Since you refuse to negotiate, I won't be polite. Zhao Feng's eyes focused. He had no intention of stirring up trouble, but there were some people who believed themselves infallible and were far too greedy. The 3 members of the Origin Returning Sect were dumbfounded by these words. Junior, I don't know whether to call you courageous or stupid. Ancient God Qian Yuan and the others all began to laugh. 60-some years ago, when Zhao Feng fled the Gulong Zone, he was just a quasi-god. Even if he had powerful treasures and his cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds, he was still a rank 7 ancient god at most. Still as arrogant as ever. The upper echelon members of the Nether Ghost race smiled even more sinisterly. The members of Spirit Grass Gate looked at Zhao Feng like he was a monster. How did he dare to say such big words to the Origin Returning Sect Master? Since you're not willing to negotiate, then we can only use strength to speak. Zhao Feng's expression chilled as he suddenly took a step forward. The Origin returning sect members had just calmed down when they suddenly found the situation extremely funny and prepared to retort. But when Zhao Feng took this step, the world rumbled. Kaboom! The world dimmed and winds howled as all the Yuan Qi in the area gathered toward Zhao Feng. A tremendous pressure of the heavens and earth pressed forward. This pressure made the two peak rank 9s of the Origin returning sect feel a little heavy, and the Origin returning sect master was quite surprised. Before they could say anything, thump! Zhao Feng took another step forward, and the worldly energy doubled in strength. At this moment, the two peak rank 9s felt their bodies sink, their expressions rather unsightly. The Origin returning clan master's eyes widened as he stared at Zhao Feng in shock. In the rear, the Nether Ghost Race and Yellow Dragon Pavilion armies felt like they were being pressed down by 100,000 mountains. All of them found it difficult to even breathe. In less than a moment, thousands of people spat out blood and retreated explosively. Retreat! The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master and the ancient god of the Nether Ghost Race roared. This sudden change caused their minds to be at a loss. However, with the arrival of danger, they instinctively knew to escape. Tell me, how do you want to settle this? Zhao Feng suddenly spoke and took another step forward. Although he was a half-step god lord, he had already comprehended a law, and his chaos origin divine power was something that few god lords of the first heaven could compare to. Rumble. At this moment, the power of heaven and earth condensed to the point that it was almost tangible, like a ferocious primordial beast charging forward. The two peak rank 9 experts of the Guiyuan sect spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated. As for the Guiyuan sovereign, he could not help but take half a step back. He froze on the spot and his entire body started to tremble. Behind Zhao Feng, everyone from Spirit Grass Gate watched this scene in a daze. In 3 steps, he had forced back 2 elite ancient gods and a half-step god lord of the Origin returning sect. In the eyes of the Spirit Grass Gate master, a half-step god lord could already be considered a supreme expert. Killing one was as easy as stepping on an ant. But such an expert was forced back by Zhao Feng's invisible pressure. Senior Zhao, for a moment, the Guiyuan sect master didn't know what to say. He had thought that the worst-case scenario was that Zhao Feng might have some trump card that would allow him to temporarily resist them. He had never imagined that the final result would be like this. At this moment, he didn't even have the courage to attack. Didn't you want to capture me? Zhao Feng took the 4th step and began to circulate his many intents. Boom! An enormous and boundless energy condensed between the heavens and the earth, crushing down with the force of a landslide. The Guiyuan sect master seemed to suffer a heavy blow. His body trembled, his face ghastly pale, and a trickle of blood trickled down the corner of his lips. Bang! The 2 peak rank 9 experts were sent flying, leaving bloody trails in the air. Senior Zhao, the fault in this matter was on us. The Guiyuan sect is willing to make any compensation. At this moment, the Guiyuan sect master finally thought of an excuse and said in a low voice. He didn't dare to doubt that Zhao Feng would really kill them. As long as they could live, they would get back what they lost. But if they died, they would have nothing. Don't let me see you again in the future. Zhao Feng bellowed. They were just a peak rank 4 force. What was there for him to be interested in? His main goal this time was to use the Guiyuan sect to intimidate the other forces. The 3 people from the Guiyuan sect scrambled and fled quickly. Zhao Feng was simply too strong. Before he even made a move, he had already forced them to vomit blood. If they really fought, it would be easy to kill them. On the other side, the people from the Yellow Dragon Pavilion and the Nether Ghost tribe were nowhere to be seen. Behind them, the people from the 100 Grass sect were dumbfounded and stood rooted to the ground. Previously, everyone thought that there would be a bloody battle. The arrival of the Nether Ghost tribe made them feel even more hopeless. But in the end, the 100 Grass sect won without a fight. The enemy army, including the experts from the Guiyuan sect, were so scared that they fled. So strong. Han Ning said in a daze. Although she had also been stunned by Zhao Feng's strength when she was with Zhao Feng, the shock that Zhao Feng had given her seemed endless. Zhao. Senior, many thanks for resolving the crisis of Hundred Grass Sect. Hundred Grass Sect Master immediately went forward to express her thanks. This time, the crisis of Hundred Grass Sect had been resolved by Zhao Feng. When will you return to the Xiling Zone? Zhao Feng looked at Xiahou Wu and Han Ning. We still have to stay for a while, Xiahou Wu said without hesitation. First of all, Hundred Grass Sect had just been rebuilt, so Han Ning would not leave so quickly. Second of all, the injuries on Hundred Grass Sect Master's body still needed some time to heal. Since this was the case, Zhao Feng temporarily stayed at Hundred Grass Sect. Although he had intimidated Hundred Grass Sect, there should still be some factions that were dissatisfied and would come to negotiate. When the time came, it would not be too late to leave after settling these matters. This was to avoid them coming to find the blazing fire Golden Sheep race and Hundred Grass Sect after he left. In truth, Zhao Feng had only imprisoned a few true gods of these factions, not to the extent of making them fight to the death. The main reason was that these people were too greedy and wanted to obtain the treasures in Zhao Feng's hands. Zhao Feng naturally could not waste his time in Hundred Grass Sect. After entering the space-time robe, he entered seclusion and began to strengthen his foundation. 1 day in the outside world was 100 days in the space-time robe. 500 days passed in the space-time robe, and no other faction came to find him. Zhao Feng sensed that he had reached a bottleneck in every aspect and would find it very difficult to make any progress. All of you, go out and keep watch for me. Zhao Feng moved the Black Destruction Dragon, Zhao Wang, and Zhao Kong out of the space-time robe dimension. The Black Destruction Dragon had just reached the half-step God Lord level, and with its bloodline, it could stand above the crowd and challenge ordinary God Lords. As for his 2 clones, they were both peak rank 9. With the 3 of them keeping watch, Zhao Feng felt more at ease. Afterward, Zhao Feng entered the ancient dream realm and focused his mind to break into the God Lord level. The most difficult aspect of breaking into the God Lord level was compressing the 9 divine stages into a God altar. In the process of forming the God altar, the divine stages would disappear layer by layer. If the condensation failed, the divine stages would not recover and would truly vanish. For this reason, many experts who tried to break into the God Lord level would experience a drop in cultivation if they failed. If they failed at the final juncture, their 9 divine stages would be destroyed and they would fall below the true God level. To a half-step God Lord, this was a devastating blow, even more painful than death. But Zhao Feng was rather confident. Firstly, he had a law, and it was an extremely tolerant space law. Secondly, his soul intent had reached the God Lord level, and with the God's spiritual eye, his control was extremely strong. The chances of a mistake were very low. In addition, the time law contained in the ancestral artifact fragment could slow down time, further reducing the chances of a mistake. And he also had the Heaven Void God Origin Ginseng that could increase his chances of breaking into the God Lord level. One day, a disciple of Spirit Grass Gate went to Zhao Feng's residence. Swish! A black-scaled man suddenly appeared in front of him, giving the Spirit Grass Gate disciple quite a fright. My master is in seclusion. What business do you have? The Black Destruction Dragon asked. Traces of an ancient god expert have been discovered near Spirit Grass Gate. They might be targeting Senior Zhao. The Spirit Grass Gate disciple immediately left after saying this. Just a trifling ancient god. The Black Destruction Dragon snorted and ignored him. To the north of Spirit Grass Gate, whoosh, whoosh, the figures that were heading towards Spirit Grass Gate suddenly stopped. Come out. The leader, a long-armed elder, turned to a certain place in the distance. Buzz. Bzz. Several figures slowly emerged. The leader was a woman with skin as smooth as water and covered in silver-white stripes. So it's the Sky Water Yao race. The long-armed elder's eyes flashed. This bewitching woman was none other than the patriarch of the Sky Water Yao race. Brother Gongshu, you're preparing to capture and kill Zhao Feng, right? The bewitching woman wickedly smiled. I presume that the Sky Water Yao race has the same goal, but why are you hiding here? Could it be that you're afraid of Zhao Feng? The long-armed elder was slightly puzzled. He had rushed over as soon as he received news of Zhao Feng's appearance. He originally thought that even if Zhao Feng had been captured, he might be able to get a share of the spoils. After all, his faction also had people imprisoned by Zhao Feng. However, when he arrived, the situation was very different from what he had imagined. It looks like Brother Gongshu still doesn't know. The Origin returning sect discovered Zhao Feng's tracks long before we did and came looking for him. However, the Origin returning sect returned empty-handed in the end. The bewitching woman slowly said, "How is that possible?" The long-armed elder's mind shook. The Origin returning sect was even stronger than his faction, but they returned empty-handed? Could it be that there was an expert protecting Zhao Feng? If that's the case, then why are you still here? The long-armed elder glanced at the bewitching woman. The Sky Water Yao race was extremely cunning, so he did not completely believe her. A single faction might not be able to deal with Zhao Feng, but Zhao Feng offended at least 20 factions. Even if that brat has a first heaven god lord protecting him, he can't possibly fight against so many factions of the Gulong zone. The bewitching woman bewitchingly smiled. The Sky Water Yao race had suffered losses at the hands of Zhao Feng in the wild ancient secret dimension and the Gulong martial gathering. For Zhao Feng to be able to fight against a half-step god lord in such a short amount of time meant that he definitely had other heaven-defying treasures besides the 5 Elements Palace and supreme quality divine artifacts that could help him break through. She had been a half-step god lord for hundreds of millions of years and had a deep desire for treasures that could help her break through. In addition, she was confident that Violet Night Hall would also be tempted. The long-armed elder was confident that the Sky Water Yao race would not remain here if there were no benefits, so they also remained here. Gradually, the long-armed elder realized that every time a faction came, the Sky Water Yao race would intentionally leak their energy so that they would be discovered and recruited. The Sky Water Yao race truly is treacherous. The long-armed elders secretly made some preparations. In less than half a month, 12 4.5-star factions had gathered here. Chapter 1461. Within the ancient dream realm, Zhao Feng was in seclusion within the territory of the Blood Flame Qilin race. The entire Blood Flame Qilin race was on guard for Zhao Feng. Your Excellency truly lives up to his reputation as the 9th God Eye. You've become a god lord so quickly. The Blood Flame Qilin race patriarch had a look of reverence on his face. When he was a peak rank 9, Zhao Feng was only a rank 7 ancient god. Now that he had just broken through to the Godmaster realm, Zhao Feng was also beginning to break through to the Godmaster realm. Within the space-time robe, Zhao Feng was in seclusion. At this moment, among the 9 divine stages in his body, the lowest divine stage was slowly transforming from a square to a round one. After a long time, the embryonic form of the altar was formed by Zhao Feng. However, this was only the beginning. What followed next was the crucial part. He had to compress the power of the other divine pedestals into the embryonic god altar, urging it to transform into a true god altar. Buzz. The second divine altar seemed to have melted, turning into liquid and merging with the embryonic divine altar below, causing it to become a bit more solid. Breaking into the Godlord realm was a difficult and slow process. One could not be impatient in the slightest. As for the origin ginseng of Heaven Void God, which could increase his chances of breaking through to the almighty level, Zhao Feng did not consume it immediately. He planned to consume it only when his god altar became unstable. That way, he would be able to maximize the medicinal effects of this precious material. Although Zhao Feng was in closed-door cultivation, he still had some understanding of Spirit Grass Gate's situation through his doppelgangers. At this moment, within the Spirit Grass Gate, many of the upper echelon members, as well as Xiahou Wu, had worried expressions. More and more experts of other factions were hiding in the area around Spirit Grass Gate, and there was no lack of half-step godlords among them. Even though the strongest member of Spirit Grass Gate was only a rank 7 ancient god, they had noticed long ago. What should we do? The 100 Herbs Gate Master frowned. Although they knew that there were many great powers hidden in the vicinity of Spirit Grass Gate, they couldn't do anything about it. If they offended the other party, Spirit Grass Gate might just be annihilated. But at this time, Zhao Feng shut his door and refused to come out. During this time, Xiahou Wu and Han Ning went to call Zhao Feng, but they were stopped by the Black Destruction Dragon. Sigh, fate is full of misfortunes. The heavens want to destroy our 100 Grass Gate. The upper echelons of Spirit Grass Gate could not help but sigh. Even now, many members of Spirit Grass Gate bore a grudge against Zhao Feng. Although Zhao Feng had easily resolved their crisis, he had brought an even greater crisis to Spirit Grass Gate. Most of the factions hidden near Spirit Grass Gate were far stronger than Spirit Grass Gate. These dangers had all been caused by Zhao Feng, but at the critical moment, Zhao Feng didn't appear. "Report, they're coming." At that moment, a hurried voice was heard in the hall. The faces of the upper echelon of Spirit Grass Gate, as well as Han Ning and Xiahou Wu, changed. "I'll go get Brother Zhao. You guys hold them back. Every minute counts." Xiahou Wu hurriedly left after saying these words. Whoosh whoosh, one figure after another flew out of 100 Grass Gate. Rumble, wind and clouds surged violently in the surroundings while lightning, fire, ice, and snow intertwined, forming all sorts of phenomena. These are the 12 major powers. The 100 Herbs Gate Master's gaze swept across the area, and her legs began to tremble. Among these 12 forces, there were as many as 6 peak 4-star forces. Moreover, based on the 100 Herbs Gate Master's observations, the leaders of 5 of these peak 4-star factions were present. This meant that there were 5 half-step god lords. A pitch-black man whose body flickered with a golden luster stepped forward. This person was the Valley Master of Golden Dragon Valley, and Golden Dragon Valley was one of the strongest peak 4-star factions of the Gulong Zone. "Zhao Feng, come out and have a chat." The Golden Dragon Valley Master's sonorous voice rang out. Kaboom! This voice was accompanied by a gale that swept towards Spirit Grass Gate, causing all the members to lose their footing. They even felt like the Golden Dragon Valley Master was the entire world while they were just a blade of grass on the ground. Reporting to Senior Zhao Feng, the 100 Herbs Gate Master respectfully explained. "Did I ask you a question?" But before he could finish, the Golden Dragon Valley Master's cold voice interrupted him. On the surface, these factions had come to have a chat with Zhao Feng, but that was only limited to Zhao Feng. However, this was only limited to Zhao Feng. They didn't put the Spirit Grass Gate Master in their eyes at all. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, those without strength didn't even have the right to speak. A Spirit Grass Gate has suffered a calamity this time. The Yellow Dragon Pavilion Master had a smug smile on his face. Although Yellow Dragon Pavilion had been intimidated by Zhao Feng, with so many factions here, how could Zhao Feng continue to act so mighty? Swish! A green figure appeared next to the Spirit Grass Gate group. "Seniors, Zhao Feng is currently busy," Xiahou Wu calmly said. The moment he said this, the members of Spirit Grass Gate knew that Zhao Feng still wasn't willing to appear. "Good sir must be a disciple of the life-sacred land. Since you have traveled so far to the Gulong Zone, why don't you come to the Sky Water Yao race? Our race will definitely receive you well." The bewitching woman of the Sky Water Yao race immediately stepped forward and issued an invitation. Instantly, Xiahou Wu's expression was somewhat ugly. On the surface, the Sky Water Yao race patriarch was inviting him, but in reality he was telling him to distance himself from this matter. But if Xiahou Wu refused, he would not be giving any face to a half-step god lord, giving the Sky Water Yao race an excuse. How crafty! Xiahou Wu couldn't help but sigh. As Xiahou Wu was in a dilemma, a silver-robed and elegant man blinked to Xiahou Wu's side. This person was none other than Zhao Feng's clone, Zhao Kong. "What business do you have with my master? It's not convenient for him to see guests right now. You can just tell me," Zhao Kong calmly said. At the same time, his left eye flashed with a deep silver luster that seemed to fill the endless void. Peak Rank 9 Eye of Spacetime. The half-step god lords instantly grimaced. If Zhao Kong hadn't called Zhao Feng his master, they might have even suspected that Zhao Kong was an expert of some major faction. Many people of the peak 4-star factions knew that Zhao Feng was a member of the spiritual race, but the spiritual race was very far away. This was the territory of the Gulong Zone, so there was nothing the spiritual race could do to deal with Zhao Feng. But if someone from a major faction were to appear, along with the life-sacred lands Xiahou Wu, they would truly have to reconsider. Everyone present is a person of status. We've personally come, but your master says that it's not convenient for him to see guests? Isn't he looking down on us too much? The long-armed elder stepped forward and coldly snorted. Back in the Gulong zone, Zhao Feng imprisoned a member of my Golden Dragon Valley. Now that this god has personally come, he still refuses to see me? The Golden Dragon Valley master's expression chilled. Have Zhao Feng come out. Have him hand over a member of my Heavenly Star Pavilion. The experts of many factions began to voice their agreement. On the surface, these factions had come to negotiate, but what they truly wanted was to directly attack and kill Zhao Feng and seize his treasures. In the end, Zhao Feng was a member of the 5-star spiritual race. They could not openly attack him, so they could only use the pretense of negotiation to find a chance to strike. Enough nonsense. Have him come out. If he doesn't come out, then we'll go find him. The surrounding factions began to press down on Spirit Grass Gate, preparing to conduct a thorough search. Scram! The Golden Dragon Valley master roared, and an invisible aura blasted towards Xiao Kong, who was blocking him. Bush, bush. Everyone began to gather toward Zhao Feng's residence. At this moment, a furious roar resounded. Impudent! The Black Destruction Dragon and Zhao Wang appeared. In a flash, a dreadful and oppressive energy began to spread through the area. All the experts below the half-step God Lord level trembled, their minds inexplicably panicking. At this moment, everyone was focused on the Black Destruction Dragon. This bloodline energy. Heavens, the Destruction Dragon race. Everyone present was stunned by the Black Destruction Dragon. It's actually the Destruction Dragon race. This race has destroyed countless dimensions and factions. It's an extremely evil race. The bewitching voice of the Sky Water Yao race woman rang out. Damned woman, what did you say? The Black Destruction Dragon's eyes chilled. Stand aside. The Golden Dragon Valley Master and the other half-step God Lord charged forward in an attempt to push back the Black Destruction Dragon. Seeking death. The Black Destruction Dragon's face was savage as it unleashed destructive dragon flames. The Black Destruction Dragon would do its utmost to complete the mission that Zhao Feng had given it. Moreover, it already knew what Zhao Feng was doing, so it could not allow these people to disturb Zhao Feng. The battle could begin at any moment. The members of Spirit Grass Gate immediately retreated. This was a battle between half-step God Lords. Ordinary true gods would simply be seeking death if they were nearby. In a distant mountain valley, BZ. In the calm void, a pitch-black shadow suddenly appeared. They've started to fight. God Lord Tyrant Dragon's eyes flashed with cold light. In truth, he did not want to see this situation. The two sides were evenly matched in strength, and he had no idea how long this battle would last. But for the sake of the 9th God Eye, he could at least endure this. I didn't think that this kid would have a destruction dragon at his side. It seems like we'll have a bountiful harvest this time. God Lord Tyrant Dragon's eyes paused on the Black Destruction Dragon for a few moments, and then they exploded with a wicked light. He didn't care what the situation was like. All he knew was that in the end, Zhao Feng would fall into his hands. On the other side, the Violet Night Hall Lord and 3 others were rushing over. Zhao Feng hasn't been captured by some other faction, has he? A half-step God Lord was rather impatient. Violet Night Hall was in the center of the Gulong zone, too far from the edge, so they had arrived rather late. Not long ago, the Xiling Zone's spiritual race and the Blazing Gold race engaged in a major battle. Zhao Feng had an outstanding performance on the battlefield, even forcing back a God Lord. The violet-robed Violet Night Hall Lord said, shrouded in violet mist. In truth, he had also received news that the 9th God Eye had appeared in the Chixing Zone. Even more bizarre was that the owner of the 9th God Eye was rumored to be called Zhao Feng. The Chixing Zone and the Xiling Zone were rather far from each other. In the Violet Night Hall Lord's view, the two were probably not the same person. How could this be? The half-step God Lord from just now was stunned. Zhao Feng, who was only a quasi-god, was already strong enough to fight against a god lord. If those minor factions try to attack Zhao Feng, they will only be seeking their own destruction. In the end, this seat will have to personally end everything. The Violet Night Hall Lord unhurriedly said. In a few short decades, Zhao Feng had gone from a quasi-god to a level where he could fight against a god lord. No one would believe that he had no secrets. And during the 5-Star Mountain incident, Zhao Feng truly had imprisoned a member of Violet Night Hall. With this reason, the Violet Night Hall Lord could force Zhao Feng to obtain important benefits from him. Chapter 1462. Within the space-time robe dimension, Zhao Feng was focused on breaking through to the God Lord level. Lights of various colors surged within his dantian. The God altar at the very bottom was much more solid than before. The God altar was covered in wondrous patterns of various colors that seemed to contain the truths of the world. Inside the God altar, the crystal-like divine power flowed quietly like water. And above the divine altar, there were still 3 divine altars left. These 3 divine stages were like 3 solid blocks of ice, slowly melting and flowing into the God altar below. Buzz. Bzz. Suddenly, the God altar began to show signs of instability, surging with powerful and pure ripples of divine power. Swish. Zhao Feng immediately took out the Heaven Void God Origin Ginseng and began to absorb the essence energy within it. A powerful and pure divine power flowed into his body. Under Zhao Feng's guidance, this special divine power poured into the God altar. Gradually, the God altar stabilized and became even harder and more translucent. The Heaven Void God Origin Ginseng could stabilize the God altar at a crucial moment and pour in powerful energy, making the God altar even stronger. After taking the Heaven Void God Origin Ginseng, Zhao Feng pushed himself to break through. At this crucial moment in his breakthrough, he could still receive information from the outside world. He didn't need to communicate with his clones to see what they were seeing. Above Spirit Grass Gate, the battle could begin at any moment. But only the top-class experts of the major factions could truly participate in this battle. After all, ordinary ancient gods couldn't even take a single breath of the Black Destruction Dragon's Destruction Dragon Flame. Scram! The Golden Dragon Valley Master angrily roared. You talk a lot of nonsense. The Black Destruction Dragon fearlessly charged forward, its boundless Destruction Dragon Flame. Kaboom! The black and red flames condensed into a massive flame dragon, exuding a destructive energy as it howled forward. The Golden Dragon Valley Master's face turned grave as a massive golden axe appeared in his right hand. Swoosh! With a wave of the axe, massive beams of golden light shot forward. But when the two collided, the Golden Dragon Valley Master's attack was instantly devoured by the Black Flame Dragon. The Golden Dragon Valley Master couldn't help but retreat when he sensed the destruction energy in the Black Destruction Dragon's attack. Damn, the Destruction Dragon race. The Golden Dragon Valley Master's face darkened with anger. They were both half-step god lords, but his bloodline was completely useless in front of the Black Destruction Dragon. In the first exchange, he was at a disadvantage. We'll help you. The patriarch of the Sky Water Monstrous clan and the long-armed old man joined hands and rushed over when they saw that the situation wasn't good. What's the use of you lot? The Black Destruction Dragon roared at the sky, its bloodline power sweeping out in all directions. Not far away, the normal real gods who had not participated in the battle spat out a mouthful of blood under the impact of the extremely strong bloodline, and they retreated simultaneously. Dragon Flame Pearl. The Black Destruction Dragon opened its mouth and spat out a red pearl with dragon inscriptions. The Black Destruction Dragon possessed one of the top 10 ancient bloodlines and a supreme quality divine weapon. Its true fighting power was enough to challenge a god lord. World-destroying Dragon Blast. The Black Destruction Dragon's entire body unleashed boundless scarlet black flames, which then condensed into 3 enormous fire dragons that simultaneously attacked the 3 half-step god lords. Not even the Golden Dragon Valley Master dared to be careless in the face of the Destruction Dragon Flame. He activated his defensive techniques and began to clash with it. On the other side, The bewitching woman of the Sky Water Monstrous race had stronger techniques and was skilled in defense, so she was able to block. However, the long-armed elder's bloodline was too weak, so he was at a disadvantage. Scram! The Black Destruction Dragon roared and attacked without any regard for anything else. This sort of life-and-death attack left the three half-step god lords reeling in fear and forcing them to back up. The Destruction Dragon race truly lived up to its reputation. So powerful. Why would one of the top 10 ancient bloodlines serve Zhao Feng? The Golden Dragon Valley Master was alarmed. So what if it's strong? As long as we can hold it down, the others... The long-armed elder had only spoken halfway when he abruptly stopped. He had been hoping that the others would kill Zhao Kong and Zhao Wang and then come help them. But when he scanned with his divine sense, he saw that the situation on the other side was not very optimistic. Although Zhao Kong and Zhao Wang were only peak rank 9, they were both God-Eye descendants and had supreme quality divine artifacts. Against ordinary half-step god lords, they had a certain advantage. This was especially true for Zhao Kong. His Eye of Spacetime had reached the quasi-God-Eye level, and his speed and attacks were so fast that no one could react. White blades filled the air in front of him, wantonly slicing through the air. Kaboom! A white-haired old man flew out from within. There were many wounds on his body, and there were many wounds on his body. Damn! The Eye of Spacetime and a Spacetime Supreme Quality Divine Artifact. The white-haired elder had an extremely nasty grimace. He was a half-step god lord, but he couldn't even do anything to a peak rank 9. The battle in the sky above Spirit Grass Gate had all the nearby experts stunned. How could this be? Not even half-step god lords can do anything to Zhao Feng's subordinates. The other members of the factions found this sight impossible to believe. In terms of cultivation, they had the absolute advantage. And in terms of numbers, they also had 2 more people. But in this battle, they were at a disadvantage. In addition, there were very few people who could interfere in a battle of this level. The Black Destruction Dragon was defending Spirit Grass Gate, and its Destruction Dragon Flame could almost instantly slay a rank 9 ancient god. In contrast, Spirit Grass Gate was similarly shocked, but they were even more elated and excited. So powerful! Are these all Zhao Feng's subordinates? The Spirit Grass Gate Master's eyes went slack. Zhao Feng's subordinates were not only powerful, but they also had significant backgrounds. 2 God-Eye descendants and 1 from a mythical race that ranked in the top 10 ancient races. In all his life, this was the first time he had seen a race that ranked in the top 10 ancient races. He was deeply impressed by their supreme fighting power. I just knew that Brother Zhao would have a backup plan. Xiahou Wu faintly smiled. But what was Zhao Feng doing? Why hadn't he come out yet? In the distant valley, God Lord Tyrant Dragon saw all of this. As expected of the 9th God-Eye. He's gathered quite a few decent subordinates, but if he still doesn't come out, the situation will be very bad. God Lord Tyrant Dragon gave a savage smile. His goal was also to capture Zhao Feng, but the 9th God-Eye still hadn't come out. Just what was he doing? 9th God-Eye, hurry and come out. God Lord Tyrant Dragon had an excited and expectant look on his face. The 8 great God-Eyes were unique in the world, comparable to the ancestors of the top 10 ancient races. And just what sort of existence was the 9th God-Eye? Boom, bang, crash. Above Spirit Grass Gate, the top-class experts of both sides fiercely clashed. But even now, the Black Destruction Dragon, Zhao Wang, and Zhao Kong were barely injured. As for the half-step god lords of the other factions, they were somewhat wounded. In particular, the white-haired elder fighting with Zhao Kong had suffered rather severe injuries and probably wouldn't be able to last much longer. Damn, if just his 3 subordinates are this powerful, just how strong is Zhao Feng himself? The Golden Dragon Valley Master couldn't help but feel an inexplicable fear when he thought about this. But when he thought about it more than 60 years ago, Zhao Feng was just a quasi-god. He definitely couldn't be that strong now. He probably didn't come out because he was too weak, so he had his subordinates do it. At this moment, the Golden Dragon Valley Master, you're truly too unsightly. Laughter resounded in the distance. Pavilion Master Chin, Hurry and lend us a hand. The Golden Dragon Valley Master called out, his expression grim. The Black Destruction Dragons group was extremely strong and was able to temporarily stop them. But some other factions were still rushing over. When the time came, no matter how many tricks the Black Destruction Dragons group had up their sleeves, they would still be doomed. I didn't think that I would be able to see the Destruction Dragon race with my own eyes. Pavilion Master Chen flew over, a golden sword in his hand. As he attacked, he unleashed countless beams of golden light. The Black Destruction Dragon's expression darkened. Even it found it somewhat difficult to deal with 4 half-step God Lords at the same time. But by relying on its Destruction Dragon body, it could continue. The situation isn't good. Xiahou Wu was rather worried. If this stalemate continued, more and more experts would enter the fray. Even if there were no half-step God Lords, the enemy had the advantage in numbers, and they would be able to exhaust the Black Destruction Dragons group to death. But not long after, laughter resounded in the distance. Ha, this old man came at just the right time. A goateed elder, his eyes flashing with green light, descended. In a flash, a mighty energy that could suppress all filled the world. All the half-step God Lords present, including the Black Destruction Dragon, felt an invisible pressure. Could this person be the famous soul-cleaving old ghost of the Gulong Zone? He's a First Heaven God Lord. The Spirit Grass Gate Master turned ghastly pale. He hadn't expected for this battle to draw over a God Lord. Once a God Lord took action, everything would soon be over. God Lord? The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's pupils constricted, its face ashen. Soul-cleaving old ghost. The Golden Dragon Valley Master's face darkened. The soul-cleaving old ghost was a First Heaven God Lord, skilled in the Soul Tao, and extremely powerful. He had never done anything without profit. If the soul-cleaving old ghost took action, the majority of the spoils would probably be his. But the Golden Dragon Valley Master could no longer make the decision in this situation. Let this old man kill all of you. Let's see if that Zhao Feng will come out or not. The soul-cleaving old ghost's dark green eyes swept over the Black Destruction Dragon, Zhao Kong, and Zhao Wang. I'll kill you first. The soul-cleaving old ghost's gaze fell on Zhao Wang. In the soul dimension, vast amounts of dark green soul energy formed a massive soul blade that slashed down from the sky. This blade was extremely sharp, and it seemed like it really could sever Zhao Wang's soul body. The blade was about to descend. Zhao Wang, who was only a peak rank 9, would definitely not be able to take this blow. But Zhao Wang's expression was extremely calm, as if he didn't care about this attack at all. You won't be able to kill anyone. Suddenly, an indifferent voice spoke. Boom. A violet lightning dragon hurled out of the soul dimension, causing the souls of all the nearby experts to tremble. Broom. The violet lightning dragon collided with the soul blade and destroyed it. Who goes there? The soul-cleaving old ghost bellowed, his face gloomy. There was actually someone present whose soul attack could compare to his own? Swish. Zhao Feng's figure appeared in the world, exuding a supreme energy that transcended all. This energy belonged to a God Lord. Didn't you come to find me? Zhao Feng looked at the soul-cleaving old ghost, and then he scanned his surroundings. God Lord? The Golden Dragon Pavilion Master, the long-armed elder, and the others felt their minds ring. How could Zhao Feng be a God Lord? In the distance, the leaders of the Yellow Dragon Pavilion and Nether Ghost race almost fainted. If they had known that Zhao Feng was a God Lord, they would have never come to join in the fun. Chapter 1463. At this moment, Zhao Feng suddenly appeared and exuded the energy of a God Lord. God Lord? The Golden Dragon Valley Master, the Sky Water Yao Race Patriarch, and the other half-step God Lords instantly froze. They had never imagined that Zhao Feng was a God Lord expert. If the soul-cleaving old ghost hadn't come, they would have all died without a grave. In the distance, the Spirit Grass Gate members seemed to have been struck by lightning, frozen to the spot. You're Zhao Feng? The soul-cleaving old ghost's dark green eyes carefully examined Zhao Feng. He believed that he could easily capture Zhao Feng this time, not that Zhao Feng was a God Lord. Good sir has come here to make trouble and injure my subordinates. You must pay a grievous price. Zhao Feng stared straight at the soul-cleaving old ghost. You've only just become a god lord, but you're already so arrogant? The soul-cleaving old ghost narrowed his eyes in disdain. That godlord energy just now was clearly that of someone who had just broken through and could not be controlled. He had also walked on this path, so it was easy for him to determine this. The half-step godlords breathed a sigh of relief at these words. But someone who had just become a godlord was definitely no match for the soul-cleaving old ghost. Swish! With a wave of his robe, Zhao Feng took the Black Destruction Dragon and his clone into the space-time robe dimension. The soul-cleaving old ghost and the half-step godlords were confused. What did Zhao Feng mean by summoning back his subordinates? Their side had 6 half-step godlords and 1 godlord. Zhao Feng had only just become a godlord. Did he really have the confidence to contend against all of them? It seemed like it was just as the soul-cleaving old ghost said. This Zhao Feng was far too arrogant and conceited. Let me teach a lesson to a junior like you who just broke through. The soul-cleaving old ghost was rather excited and impatient to attack. Soul-breaking blade. Buzz. Buzz. Bzz. In the soul dimension, 3 dark green sabers appeared above the soul-cleaving old ghost. The 3 soul-breaking blades hung in the sky, exerting an immense pressure on the nearby half-step godlords. In the distance, the spectating true gods and ancient gods felt like a saber was pressed against their necks. As expected of a Soul Dao God Lord. To think that he would be so powerful. The Golden Dragon Valley Master was secretly alarmed. One of the 3 soul-breaking blades that the soul-crushing old ghost had unleashed could directly destroy his soul. Senior, we'll stop Zhao Feng for you, lest he escapes. The Golden Dragon Valley Master immediately said with a smile. With the current situation, once Zhao Feng was captured, all the benefits would belong to the soul-crushing old ghost. Therefore, he had to do something. After saying this, the Golden Dragon Valley Master shot a glance at the other half-step god lords. Whoosh! Whoosh! The half-step god lords immediately surrounded Zhao Feng. Let me see how many slashes you can take. With an evil smile on his face, the soul-breaking old ghost waved his hand. Swoosh! In the sky, the 3 soul blade fragments arrived above Zhao Feng and descended one by one. Just as the first soul blade was about to hit Zhao Feng, however, Zhao Feng himself stood there leisurely, completely unmoved. Boom! The massive dark green blade slashed into Zhao Feng's body. In a flash, a sharp and tyrannical soul energy surged into Zhao Feng's soul body. Zhao Feng's soul intent had reached the godlord level a long time ago. After becoming a godlord, his soul intent had advanced another level. Coupled with the uniqueness of his lightning soul body, his soul defenses were so strong that not even a top-class First Heaven godlord could break through them. In addition, Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye had also reached the god eye level, further increasing his soul's ability to resist attacks. Kaboom! Boundless soul energy invaded Zhao Feng's soul body, but in the end, the energy was exhausted. When the saber descended, the surrounding crowd was astonished, their faces filled with astonishment. Even the soul-breaking old ghost himself was astonished. Was Zhao Feng not afraid of death? In the face of his soul attack, he didn't even try to dodge or do anything. But a moment later, the soul-breaking old ghost grimaced, feeling rather strange. This was because even though Zhao Feng had been struck by the soul-severing blade, he didn't seem to be affected at all. Boom! At this moment, the second soul-severing blade slashed down. As for Zhao Feng, he remained as unmoving as a mountain, seemingly unconcerned. The second soul-severing blade had no effect, and Zhao Feng was still standing there. The soul-severing old ghost's face was ashen. He was a Soul Dao God Lord, but he couldn't even do anything to a junior that had just become a God Lord. Boom! The strongest third soul-severing blade struck Zhao Feng's soul, but it still had no effect. The nearby half-step god lords were dumbfounded. Is this real? The Golden Dragon Valley Master found this all too absurd and unbelievable. Junior, you truly do have a lot of good stuff on you. You even have a supreme quality divine artifact that protects the soul. The soul-breaking old ghost bellowed. That scene just now was far too humiliating for him, which was why the soul-breaking old ghost said this. But in his mind, this was also his conjecture. Hearing this, the people around him nodded. Zhao Feng definitely had a supreme quality divine artifact that protected the soul, or else there would be no other explanation for what just happened. Moreover, Zhao Feng was wearing the space-time robe, and his subordinates just now all had supreme quality divine artifacts. It was completely reasonable for him to have a supreme quality divine artifact. Ignorant. Zhao Feng snorted. He had not been in a rush to strike because he was getting used to his God-Lord divine power, and he had also been able to test out his soul defenses. But now it was time to end this. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, strength was everything. Everything should be resolved with strength. Swish. Zhao Feng's figure flickered away. The soul-breaking old ghost flipped his palm, and a green dagger appeared. He suddenly stabbed forward. Space rippled in front of the dagger, and Zhao Feng appeared. Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword. Zhao Feng extended a palm, Chaos Origin Divine Power surging out and instantly condensing into a dark silver sword. This sword was so condensed that it seemed real, and countless dark streams of light flowed through it. Swish. At the same time, tribulation lightning patterns appeared above it. Boom. Bang. The two swords clashed, and the soul-breaking old ghost's dark green dagger was sent flying. How could this be? The soul-breaking old ghost grimaced. In that clash of divine power just now, he had been defeated. But hadn't Zhao Feng just become a god-lord? How could a divine power attack be so powerful? But now was not the time to think about this. Zhao Feng's peerlessly powerful lightning sword was already descending. Not good. The soul-breaking old ghost discovered that he had been enveloped by a time law. He couldn't dodge even if he wanted to. Boom. The Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning sword pierced through the soul-breaking old ghost's chest, creating a splash of blood. Plush. The soul-breaking old ghost vomited a mouthful of blood as he stared in a daze at Zhao Feng. At this moment, boundless Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning divine power was wreaking havoc and devouring everything within his body. This dreadful destructive power made him not dare to believe that this was real. Die! Zhao Feng gripped the Chaos Origin divine sword and mobilized the pure divine power in his god altar. Boom! The Chaos Origin divine sword instantly swelled in power, and the sword itself doubled in size. Ah! A shrill scream resounded through the world, making one's hair stand on end. Boom! Boosh! Zhao Feng's sword slashed through the air, cleaving the soul-breaking old ghost's body in two. Boosh! The two scorched halves of the soul-breaking old ghost's body dropped to the ground. Everything within his divine body had been completely destroyed, including his soul. The soul-breaking old ghost had been severed by a single sword strike from Zhao Feng. The 6 half-step godlords around him were ghastly pale, their legs constantly trembling. This soul-breaking old ghost was just talking nonsense. How could he kill a godlord so easily after just becoming a godlord? How could he be so strong? The bewitching woman of the Sky Water Yao race was completely terrified. Now that she thought about it, all her previous actions had been suicidal. In the distant valley, God Lord Tyrant Dragon's eyes flashed with a strange light. As expected of the 9th God Eye. After becoming a God Lord, killing God Lords of the same level is so easy. God Lord Tyrant Dragon was rather excited. All of you, have you all come to settle accounts with this Zhao? Zhao Feng barked. An invisible soul pressure swept out in all directions. The 6 half-step God Lords felt like their souls were being bombarded by countless bolts of lightning, their bodies aching and numbing. Even farther away, the true gods and ancient gods were also affected, their bodies numbing and losing consciousness. At this moment, there was absolute silence. Zhao Feng had even killed a God Lord, so how could they dare to make trouble for Zhao Feng? Wasn't that just seeking death? But right at this moment, an even more powerful aura descended upon them. Kaboom! In a flash, the sky was dyed violet, and the air was shrouded in a hazy violet mist. Zhao Feng, you're quite bold. You dare to act so brashly in the Gulong Zone and even kill a God Lord of the Gulong Zone? A violet-robed elder slowly emerged from the violet mist. Next to the elder were 3 half-step godlords. Violet Night Hall. The Golden Dragon Valley Master rejoiced. Violet Night Hall was one of the 3 5-star factions of the Gulong Zone. Moreover, the one who had come this time was the Violet Night Hall Lord, a second heaven god lord. None of the factions present had expected the Violet Night Hall Lord to personally come. It's over. Even the Violet Night Hall Lord has come. The Spirit Grass Gate Master was deeply worried. Violet Night Hall was undoubtedly one of the behemoths of the Gulong Zone. Zhao Feng is already a god lord. Violet Night Hall probably won't make things difficult for Zhao Feng over a minor matter from back then. An elder of Spirit Grass Gate said. As long as Zhao Feng controlled his temper and had a proper talk with Violet Night Hall, this matter could be concluded. So you're saying that Violet Night Hall has also come to make trouble for this Zhao? Zhao Feng looked at the Violet Night Hall Lord and coldly said. The fact that the Violet Night Hall Lord had personally come meant that Violet Night Hall was prepared to attack him from the very start. There was almost no chance of negotiation. Thus, Zhao Feng couldn't be bothered to waste words. You're making trouble in the territory under Violet Night Hall's jurisdiction. How can Violet Night Hall let you do as you please? The Violet Night Hall Lord was rather displeased by Zhao Feng's attitude. However, he was almost certain that Zhao Feng had some sort of heaven-defying treasure in his possession, one that far surpassed supreme-quality divine artifacts. Otherwise, Zhao Feng would have never been able to reach the Godlord level so quickly, much less kill a first heaven Godlord. If he could obtain Zhao Feng's treasure, the overall strength of Violet Night Hall would receive a massive boost. Boom! The violet mist around the Violet Night Hall Lord became so thick that normal people couldn't even see him clearly. The half-step godlords closer to the Violet Night Hall Lord felt that their vision was blurry, and they began to hallucinate. A few moments later, the world had become a gloomy violet hell. Run! The nearby half-step godlords grimaced and immediately retreated. In the distant valley, Godlord Tyrant Dragon was a little interested. Ninth God Eye, can you fight against a second heaven Godlord? Godlord Tyrant Dragon was rather curious. But no matter what the outcome of this battle was, he would be the final winner. Chapter 1464. The Violet Night Hall Lord barely exchanged a few words with Zhao Feng before both sides began to seethe with killing intent. How could this be? The members of Spirit Grass Gate found this extremely strange. The two sides had barely exchanged a few words before fighting. It appeared as if the Violet Night Hall Lord had long since prepared to personally attack and had no intention of negotiating. In addition, Zhao Feng's attitude had not changed at all, not giving the Violet Night Hall Lord any face. He had only just become a God Lord, but the Violet Night Hall Lord had become a God Lord countless millions of years ago and was now a second heaven. The world seemed to turn violet. Everyone nearby felt the incomparably oppressive aura and retreated a certain distance. I let you escape last time, but this time, no matter how powerful you are, you will remain here. The Violet Night Hall Lord's ancient and dignified voice echoed through the violet night. Kaboom! Violet mist surged, instantly condensing into a massive violet claw. Before the violet claw even descended, a bone-chilling gale swept toward it. If Zhao Feng didn't have the space-time robe, he would have been forced to dodge. Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword. Zhao Feng circulated his Chaos Origin Divine Power, formed a Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword, and slashed. This was his first direct clash with a second heaven godlord, so he could not be as careless as before. He had to be cautious and fight with all his strength. Bang! The Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword cut open a massive wound on the violet claw. Violet mist immediately leaked out of the wound, and the Violet Night Hall Lord's attack lost more than half its power. By relying on Tribulation Lightning energy, his special divine power attack is actually able to contend against my Violet Light divine power? The Violet Night Hall Lord was rather surprised. Although he had overestimated Zhao Feng before coming, in this true clash, Zhao Feng's strength was still far beyond his imagination. The Violet Night Hall Lord's expression darkened as he extended both hands. Kaboom! Two massive violet claws condensed in the violet night sky. These claws were almost tangible, like the claws of a vicious beast, and they were covered in strange and demonic patterns. Boom! The two violet claws moved with incredible speed, grabbing at him from the left and right. A layer of ethereal white light appeared on Zhao Feng's body. He turned into a streak of light and escaped the Violet Night Hall Lord's attack range. Although his divine power attacks combined with his tribulation lightning could fight against a second heaven god lord, he was still a god lord. But in a head-on clash, he would still be at a disadvantage. This kid's speed is quite fast. The face of the Violet Night Hall Lord sank slightly. At the god lord level, all attacks were imbued with space intent or a law. Thus, techniques like blink and instant movement could not be used. But even if he didn't use these abilities, Zhao Feng's speed was still incredibly fast. Boom! In the strange purple night, a streak of light flashed and disappeared, leaving the two purple claws behind. Chaos Origin Divine Sword. As he flew, Zhao Feng activated his left eye, condensing a miniature Chaos Origin Divine Sword that shot forward. Eye technique. The Lord of the Violet Night Hall had sensed it long ago. In front of him, purple mist surged and formed a special purple shield of light. As expected of a second heaven god lord. Zhao Feng mentally sighed. The Violet Night Hall Lord was extremely calm in dealing with him, not letting up in the slightest. The Violet Night Hall Lord immediately took defensive measures against a soul eye bloodline technique unleashed by a god lord one heaven lower than him. BZZ. Zhao Feng's left eye flashed with dreamy light, abnormally dazzling in the oppressive and bizarre violet night. Move up. As his left eye stared at the miniature Chaos Origin Divine Sword, an intense thought appeared in his mind. At this moment, Zhao Feng was using the realization ability. This ability was extremely effective against small objects and could make the impossible possible. For example, Zhao Feng had changed the trajectory of his eye bloodline technique. What? The Violet Night Hall Lord's eyes flashed in shock. Swoosh! A miniature Chaos Origin Divine Sword pierced through his head. How could this be? A hint of pain appeared on the Violet Night Hall Lord's face, but it was quickly replaced by shock. Just now, his defensive secret skill was 100% certain that it could block Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique. But the eye bloodline technique had suddenly changed its trajectory and moved up a few centimeters. In normal circumstances, this would have been completely impossible. Caught off guard, the Violet Night Hall Lord was injured by Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique. In the distance, only the 6 half-step god lords could clearly see what was happening on the god lord battlefield. How could this be? The Violet Night Hall Lord was injured by Zhao Feng. The Golden Dragon Valley Master's mouth dropped open in disbelief. Of course, he only had a blurry view of how Zhao Feng had managed to injure the Violet Night Hall Lord, and he didn't really understand. The Violet Night Hall Lord was probably careless and allowed Zhao Feng to exploit an opening. The one-armed elder also found this to be unbelievable. The Violet Night Hall Lord was no ordinary second heaven god lord. How could he have been injured by a junior that had just become a god lord? In the distant valley, God Lord Tyrant Dragon's pupils constricted. The trajectory of the attack suddenly changed. Ninth God Eye, how did you do it? God Lord Tyrant Dragon was rather excited and impatient to investigate the secrets of the Ninth God Eye. At the center of the battlefield, Junior, die. The Violet Night Hall Lord was enraged. Boom. He activated his Violet Night Race bloodline, and his body transformed into a stream of violet light that made him seem like a monster of the Violet Night. Swoosh! In a flash, countless violet figures charged out of the Violet Night Hall Lord's body. Each one of these violet figures was equivalent to a full-strength attack from the Violet Night Hall Lord. Chaos Heaven Black Hole. The Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword could not deal with this, and the God Eye Illusory Oblivion could not nullify such a large-scale attack. Thus, he could only use the Chaos Heaven Black Hole. Now that the Chaos Heaven Void Origin technique had reached the 6th level, Zhao Feng could completely use the Chaos Heaven Black Hole's power. Whoosh, whoosh. Vast amounts of Chaos Origin divine power poured out of Zhao Feng's body, condensing into a circle that engulfed Zhao Feng. This circle of light grew darker and darker until it was black. The moment the Chaos Heaven black hole formed, a powerful twisting and devouring energy was unleashed. Swoosh swoosh. Several violet figures were the first to descend. But once the violet figures got a certain distance from the Chaos Heaven black hole, they were struck by a twisting energy that caused their power to drop. As they got closer, a devouring energy attacked them. Boom! By the time the purple shadow collided with the Chaos Heaven black hole, it had lost more than half of its power. Shio! Displaying the Chaos Heaven black hole, Zhao Feng moved at high speed. This kid has such a powerful defensive secret skill. The Lord of the Violet Night Hall narrowed his eyes. Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword. A Chaos Origin Lightning Tribulation Sword suddenly condensed above the Chaos Heaven black hole and stabbed at the Violet Night Hall Master. The figure of the Violet Night Hall Master, who had transformed into a streak of violet light, flickered as he dodged. Shio! But suddenly, a miniature Chaos Divine Sword shot out, piercing through the place he had just appeared and accurately striking the Violet Night Hall Lord. Damn it! This brat! The Lord of the Violet Night Hall was livid. The Violet Knight race also specialized in speed, but Zhao Feng's God Eye's predictive abilities were too powerful, and his eye bloodline techniques were also extremely fast. Boom! Bang! As Zhao Feng attacked the Violet Night Hall Master, countless violet lights descended on his body. If it weren't for the Chaos Heaven black hole and his ability to predict and dodge at high speed, he wouldn't have been able to escape. Not even the Chaos Heaven black hole would be able to block this kind of indiscriminate bombardment. But after suffering 2 losses at the hands of Zhao Feng, the Violet Night Hall Master could no longer restrain his rage. Junior, you brought this upon yourself. The Violet Night Hall Master bellowed. Hissus. The Violet Night Hall Lord, who had transformed into a stream of purple light, suddenly swelled up, as if he had fused with the purple night sky. Violet Annihilation. Powerful divine power surged in front of the Violet Night Hall Master, condensing into a spinning violet stream. As this violet stream spun, it rapidly grew in size, and several violet figures could be seen within it. They seemed to be powerful demons of violet light. In the distance, the half-step godlords were stunned and involuntarily retreated. I didn't think that the Violet Night Hall Master would use the Violet Night Race Bloodline secret art, Violet Annihilation, so quickly. I heard that the Violet Night Race Bloodline secret art, Violet Night, contains many different types of energy and is extremely destructive. The Violet Night Hall Master's bloodline is extremely thick, so when he uses this technique, he can heavily injure a god lord of the same level. The half-step god lords were all stunned. It seemed like Zhao Feng was doomed. But they had forgotten that it was Zhao Feng who had forced the Violet Night Hall Master to use this technique. The Violet Night Hall Master's roar shook the heavens. A bone-chilling roar came from the swirling purple stream. In a flash, the violet stream was right in front of Zhao Feng. This speed was comparable to Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique version of the Chaos Origin Divine Sword. Illusory Oblivion. The Chaos Heaven black hole found it difficult to block this attack, so Zhao Feng immediately used his origin energy to use the God Eye Illusory Oblivion. BZZ. A dreamy dot of light suddenly appeared in the endless violet night, exuding a dreamy light that made one yearn for it. In front of Zhao Feng's eyes, the purple stream was covered in a layer of dreamy. Extinguish. He began to use his thought power. A moment later, the heaven-shaking attack before Zhao Feng's eyes suddenly vanished. In the distance, the Violet Night Hall Master was smiling down at Zhao Feng, as if victory was already his. However, all of a sudden, the ultimate attack that he had unleashed vanished without a trace. What? The Lord of the Violet Night Hall was shocked, feeling incredulous. How had Zhao Feng instantly neutralized his attack? Boom. As the Violet Night Hall Master was reeling in shock, 2 Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Swords pierced through him. Swoosh. The 2 Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Swords pierced through the Violet Night Hall Master's chest, nailing him to the void. Boundless Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning energy wreaked havoc within the Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning swords, corroding the Violet Knight Hall Master's divine body. Just now, how did you do it? The Violet Knight Hall Master circulated his divine power and prepared to struggle free. But how could Zhao Feng give him this chance? Intrusive dream. Zhao Feng circulated his origin energy and thought power. In a flash, he had created a dream dimension. When his left eye locked onto the Violet Knight Hall Master's body, the Violet Knight Hall Master couldn't help but look at the dreamy light. At this moment, the Violet Knight Hall Master's consciousness felt an unprecedented suction. What's going on? The Violet Knight Hall Master didn't know what Zhao Feng was doing. But through Zhao Feng's left eye, he saw a dream dimension paradise, and he suddenly felt an unprecedented sense of danger. Chapter 1465. What's going on? This is... The Violet Knight Hall Lord didn't know what Zhao Feng was doing. But through Zhao Feng's left eye, he saw a paradise of dreams, and he suddenly felt an unprecedented sense of danger. The Violet Knight Hall Lord immediately circulated his soul intent to resist. This kid, what powerful soul intent! The Violet Knight Hall Lord was alarmed. He was a second heaven god lord, but first heaven Zhao Feng's soul eye bloodline technique was actually able to shake his soul intent. The Violet Knight Hall Lord soon realized that this had to do with Zhao Feng's left eye. Could that short-lived ninth god eye of the Chixing Zone really be him? The Violet Knight Hall Lord couldn't help but be stunned when he thought of the rumor. The ninth god eye was an unreachable and mythical existence in his mind, so he didn't believe that the Zhao Feng he knew was the owner of the ninth god eye. But now, the Violet Knight Hall Lord felt an intense sense of danger. He was forced to believe that the rumor might actually be true. In the distance, the 6 half-step god lords were in turmoil. What's going on? What just happened? The long-armed old man's face was filled with shock. Why had the Violet Knight Hall Lord's supreme skill, Purple Annihilation, suddenly vanished? At this moment, a ball of dreamy light appeared in the center of the violet mist, causing everyone to look up. What's that? Everyone's consciousness was drawn by the dreamy light and suddenly fell into another space. In the center of the battlefield, intrusive dream. Zhao Feng's left eye focused on the Violet Knight Hall Lord's body, and dreamy vortexes of light surged out. Under Zhao Feng's left eye, the Violet Knight Hall Lord clenched his teeth and resisted. Rumble. Suddenly, the 2 Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Swords piercing through the Violet Knight Hall Lord suddenly surged with power, unleashing vast amounts of Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning energy. In a flash, the Violet Knight Hall Lord's tightly guarded mind was shaken. Oh no! The Violet Knight Hall Lord couldn't help but send his mind into Zhao Feng's left eye. A moment later, he found himself in a dream dimension. The scene in the space showed the area around Spirit Grass Gate, the place where he and Zhao Feng had just fought. However, the Spirit Grass Gate in front of him right now was like a dream or fantasy, dazzling and magnificent. Everything before him seemed like something that could only happen in a dream, yet it gave the Violet Knight Hall Lord an incomparably realistic feeling. Violet Knight Hall Master. Nearby, the Golden Dragon Valley Master and the other half-step god lords couldn't help but call out in alarm. They're here too? These half-step god lords also gave the Violet Knight Hall Lord an extremely realistic feeling. All sorts of strange phenomena made the Violet Knight Hall Lord feel uneasy. He prepared to use some means to leave this strange space. At this moment, in the distance, Zhao Feng's figure emerged. Oh, some little fellows have also come here. Zhao Feng looked at the Golden Dragon Valley Master and the others. His intrusive dream was primarily targeted at the Violet Knight Hall Lord, but these half-step god lords were nearby, so they were also affected by the intrusive dream. Moreover, they were only half-step god lords, so their resistance was extremely weak. They didn't even feel anything as they entered Zhao Feng's dream dimension. Then let's die together. Zhao Feng laughed. Laughable. You think you can kill me? The Violet Knight Hall Lord felt like he had heard the funniest joke in the world. Violet Night Hall Lord, we will assist you in killing this boy. The Golden Dragon Valley Master's expression darkened. The Violet Night Hall Lord nodded. He had suffered time and time again at Zhao Feng's hands, and at this time, he was not very confident in dealing with Zhao Feng. However, if he had the help of these people, he would have a much higher chance of success. But just when the Violet Night Hall Lord was prepared to move, he realized that he was stuck in a quagmire, his movements extremely slow. On the other side, the 6 half-step god lords were even more immobile. BZZ. At the same time, several thousand Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning swords appeared in the dreamy sky. How could this be? The Violet Night Hall Lord blurted out in shock. After fighting with Zhao Feng, he knew the power of this move, and Zhao Feng could only form 2 Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning swords at most. But now, several thousand Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning swords had appeared in the sky without warning. No, what's going on here? The other 6 half-step god lords were scared out of their wits. Why had they suddenly become as weak as ants while Zhao Feng was unimaginably powerful? There's something strange about this dimension. The Violet Night Hall Lord's consciousness erupted with a peerless will. In a flash, the entire dream dimension began to show signs of instability. The 1,000 Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning swords in the sky began to sway, and some of them even shattered. But losing a few didn't have much effect. As expected of a second heaven god lord. Even though you've entered my dream dimension, you can still resist. Zhao Feng's expression darkened as he waved his hand. Swoosh! Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning swords rained down from the sky like a rain of swords. Oh no! The Violet Night Hall Lord sensed that his life was in danger, and his mind exploded with even more soul energy, causing the entire dimension to sway. A Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning sword stabbed into the Violet Night Hall Lord's left shoulder. The intense pain made the Violet Night Hall Lord even more clear-headed. The desire to live caused the Violet Night Hall Lord's mind to erupt with unprecedented intent. Kaboom! The entire dream space became transparent and thin. The power of the descending Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning swords also dropped. Although a few managed to hit the Violet Night Hall Lord, the damage was rather weak. BZZ. The Violet Night Hall Lord's body gradually became transparent as he left this place. But the 6 half-step god lords were pierced by the rain of swords, their bodies collapsing into nothingness. In the outside world, the Violet Night Hall Lord's mind returned to his body, a weak expression on his face. He touched the wound on his left shoulder and the other wounds on his body, a dazed expression on his face. Everything he had experienced just now was like a nightmare. But now that he woke up, everything that had happened in the dream had actually happened to him. Nearby, he could sense the auras of 6 fallen half-step god lords. Just what sort of ability is this? The Violet Night Hall Lord was stunned. Earlier, Zhao Feng had suddenly changed the trajectory of his attack and injured him. Now, Zhao Feng had broken his killing move, causing him to fall for it again. And this time, the ability that Zhao Feng had used was even more absurd. He actually managed to escape. Zhao Feng looked at the Violet Night Hall Lord in surprise. He had used the intrusive dream ability very few times, so he didn't have a very good understanding of its limits. And the Violet Night Hall Lord was the first person to escape from his dream dimension. Zhao Feng, Violet Night Hall will not pursue your actions. The Violet Night Hall Lord looked at Zhao Feng, his mind instantly seized with fear. Moreover, he had consumed an enormous amount of soul energy when breaking free from the dream dimension, and coupled with his heavy injuries, it was not advisable for him to continue fighting. If Zhao Feng used that absurd ability again, he might really end up dying here. The Violet Night Hall Lord transformed into a dark stream of violet light that swiftly departed. On the edge, the 3 people who had come with the Violet Night Hall Lord left with him. Zhao Feng watched as the Violet Night Hall Lord left, but he did not pursue. He had just used intrusive dream to pull the mind of a second heaven god lord into the dream dimension. This was already very difficult and very exhausting. In addition, this was the Gulong Zone. If he wanted to kill the Violet Night Hall Lord, The other five-star factions would not sit idly by. Even a sacred land might intervene. The world gradually returned to normal. In all directions, everyone was stunned on the spot. The Violet Knight Hall Lord ran? I even saw the injuries on the Violet Knight Hall Lord's body. I didn't think that the Violet Knight Hall Lord would be defeated. The crowd was in an uproar. But the members of the Sky Water Yao race and Golden Dragon Valley also realized that the half-step god lords of their factions had disappeared. Zhao Feng looked at the distant Yellow Dragon Pavilion and Nether Ghost race and thrust out a finger. Vish! A bolt of chaos origin divine power shot forward. Spare me, your excellency! All the members of the two factions wanted to run. But they realized that their movements and thoughts had become extremely slow. All they could see was the descending bolt of chaos origin divine power. Boom! Bang! An ordinary bolt of chaos origin divine power exploded in the distance, its massive range affecting the two factions. When the dust settled, there was no one left. Seeing this, the rest of the members quickly retreated. With the Violet Knight Hall Lord fleeing, no one present could last a single blow from Zhao Feng. In the distant valley, the Violet Knight Hall Lord was actually defeated. Ninth God Eye, you truly did not disappoint me, and you will not disappoint that Lord. God Lord Tyrant Dragon's eyes shone and his arms trembled, but in the end he put them down. A few moments later, there was no one around Spirit Grass Gate. The black figure in the distant valley also gradually began to recede. In the following period of time, no one came to make trouble for Zhao Feng. Now that Yellow Dragon Pavilion and the Nether Ghost race had been destroyed and Spirit Grass Gate was rebuilt, it immediately sent people to occupy them. In this way, Spirit Grass Gate's territory tripled and it also obtained a massive amount of resources. It wouldn't be long before Spirit Grass Gate surpassed its former glory. Because of Zhao Feng's influence, no one dared to touch the fat piece of meat that was Spirit Grass Gate. 3 months later, Han Ning decided to return to the life-sacred land. Only there would her future be better, and this was what Spirit Grass Gate hoped for. One day, Zhao Feng, Xiahou Wu and Han Ning left Spirit Grass Gate. Although the journey was long, with Zhao Feng's status as a god lord he could use the teleportation array of a 5-star faction of the Gulong Zone unconditionally. When he arrived at Violet Knight Hall even prepared a small gift for Zhao Feng. Swish! Through Violet Knight Hall's teleportation array, the three arrived at the edge of Violet Knight Hall's territory. The three then headed toward another 5-star faction. After advancing for a while, Zhao Feng suddenly stopped. What's wrong? Xiahou Wu and Han Ning were confused. Good sir, show yourself. Zhao Feng's expression was indifferent. A black figure shot out of the distant clouds and appeared in front of the trio. In a flash, an energy that could suppress the heavens and earth was unleashed. So strong. A second heaven. Xiahou Wu's body trembled, his face turning stiff. This expert that had suddenly appeared gave him the feeling that he was even stronger than the Violet Knight Hall Lord. If not for Zhao Feng's presence, he and Han Ning would have already exploded under this pressure. Good sir, what business do you have waiting for this Zhao here? They had traveled through a teleportation array. This person lying in ambush here meant that he knew the route Zhao Feng's group was taking. This also meant that this person had a massive faction backing him. And this was the Gulong Zone. The first thing Zhao Feng thought of was the 3 5-star factions of the Gulong Zone. Ninth God Eye, you don't need to go anywhere. God Lord Tyrant Dragon looked at Zhao Feng's left eye with unconcealable excitement. Chapter 1466. Ninth God Eye, there's no need for you to go anywhere. God Lord Tyrant Dragon stared at Zhao Feng's left eye, his eyes brimming with excitement. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. It wasn't strange for this person to know about the Ninth God Eye, but for this person to say these words made his goal extremely clear. The Ninth God Eye. The two of you go first. Zhao Feng messaged Xiahou Wu and Han Ning, as he stared at the person in front of him. The fact that this second heaven god lord knew their route meant that he had an extremely large intelligence network. Thus, There was no way he didn't know that Zhao Feng had forced back the second Heaven Violet Night Hall Lord. He clearly knew that Zhao Feng was powerful, but he still dared to come alone. This made Zhao Feng even more cautious. Just in case, he had Xiahou Wu and Han Ning leave. Sush. Xiahou Wu and Han Ning immediately left. The two of them would not be able to interfere in a Godlord battle and would only get in the way. In addition, Xiahou Wu had also sensed Godlord Tyrant Dragon's power. This was probably going to be a tough battle, so they could not disturb Zhao Feng. Godlord Tyrant Dragon's eyes remained fixed on Zhao Feng, completely ignoring the departing Xiahou Wu and Han Ning. If you are willing to offer up your eye, I can spare your life and even allow you to join my faction. Godlord Tyrant Dragon calmly said. What faction do you belong to? Zhao Feng immediately asked. In his view, only the 3 5-star factions of the Gulong Zone and the Sacred Land had such a large intelligence network that could grasp the movements of a Godlord. The 3 5-star factions were very unlikely, so the most likely was the Gulong Zone's heaven-devouring Sacred Land. Offer up the 9th God Eye, and I'll tell you. Godlord Tyrant Dragon savagely smiled. If Zhao Feng was willing to offer up the 9th God Eye, it would prove that Zhao Feng truly wanted to join his faction. If you want it, then come and take it. Zhao Feng's expression turned serious, and pure divine power began to circulate from his god altar. I will definitely obtain the 9th God Eye. Godlord Tyrant Dragon coldly snorted, forbidden bloodline energy gathering in his body. Boom! Endless scarlet-black dragon flames gushed out from each slit of his scales. Shortly after, the entire sky was dyed into a sea of black fire. An oppressive aura of disaster descended upon Zhao Feng, who was in the middle of the sea of fire. Destruction Dragon Tribe. Zhao Feng was slightly shocked. He had felt it before, but now that he saw it with his own eyes, he was even more shocked. This was the second destruction dragon he had seen, aside from the Black Destruction Dragon. Moreover, this person with the Destruction Dragon race bloodline was also a second heaven godlord. It was hard to imagine just how strong he was. Within the space-time robed dimension, the Black Destruction Dragon's bloodline trembled. What's going on? What a powerful Destruction Dragon race bloodline. The Black Destruction Dragon was astonished. World-destroying Dragon Blast. Godlord Tyrant Dragon waved his claws. The scarlet-black flames instantly condensed into 2 fire dragons that charged at Zhao Feng. Before the attack even arrived, Zhao Feng already sensed danger. As expected of the Destruction Dragon race, their attacks can destroy the world. Zhao Feng did not dare to be careless and immediately used his Chaos Origin Divine Power to use the Chaos Heaven Black Hole. Hisses. A pitch-black halo engulfed Zhao Feng, exuding a twisting and devouring energy. Of course, even if he used the Chaos Heaven Black Hole, Zhao Feng would not take Godlord Tyrant Dragon's attack head-on. Godlord Tyrant Dragon's attack was much stronger than the Violet Night Hall Lord's, and the Chaos Heaven Black Hole might not necessarily be able to take it. Maintaining the Chaos Heaven Black Hole, Zhao Feng rapidly moved. Buzz. BZZ. Chaos Origin Divine Power extended from each side of the Chaos Heaven Black Hole, instantly condensing into a Chaos Origin Divine Sword. The Chaos Origin Divine Sword began to crackle with lightning as it slashed at Godlord Tyrant Dragon. Godlord Tyrant Dragon coldly snorted and charged forward without dodging. Boom! Black and red draconic flames erupted as Godlord Tyrant Dragon transformed into a pitch-black dragon that opened its savage maw and unleashed destructive dragon flames. Cling-clang! One of Zhao Feng's Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning swords was bitten by Godlord Tyrant Dragon while the other slashed at his body, leaving behind a wound. However, the Destruction Dragon race possessed the Destruction Dragon body, so even Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning swords could recover rather quickly. On the other side, Godlord Tyrant Dragon spat out a ball of destructive dragon flames that traveled along the Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning swords toward Zhao Feng. BZZ. Zhao Feng had no choice but to withdraw his Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning sword. So troublesome. Zhao Feng's expression darkened. As a second heaven god lord, God Lord Tyrant Dragon could probably crush the Violet Knight Hall Lord. Kid, don't you still have the ancestral artifact fragment? God Lord Tyrant Dragon roared as he charged at Zhao Feng. What? Zhao Feng was stunned. God Lord Tyrant Dragon actually knew that he had an ancestral artifact fragment? But when he thought about it, he remembered that he had used the ancestral artifact fragment in the scorching underworld, so more and more people knew about it. If you don't take it out, you won't get another chance. God Lord Tyrant Dragon rapidly approached Zhao Feng, his bloodline energy making Zhao Feng feel very uncomfortable. Swish! At this moment, a black piece of metal appeared next to God Lord Tyrant Dragon, exuding a dreadful energy that could destroy all. The moment this metal piece appeared, all the destruction dragon flames in the world began to gather around it. This dreadful energy made even Zhao Feng tremble in fear. Ancestral artifact fragment? Zhao Feng blurted out in shock. Yes, the black metal piece that God Lord Tyrant Dragon had taken out was also an ancestral artifact fragment. Boom! The ancestral artifact fragment slashed through the air, unleashing a wave of black flame. Wherever the black flame light wave passed, even space itself would distort and be tainted with traces of black flames. Swish! At this moment, Zhao Feng no longer dared to hold anything back and immediately took out the ancestral artifact fragment. The moment the time-type ancestral artifact fragment appeared, white light began to spread through the world, somewhat suppressing the flames. Time slash! Zhao Feng swung the ancestral artifact fragment, unleashing a massive crystalline white blade. Everything around this blade became extremely slow. But the crystalline white blade itself was extremely fast, and it instantly reached the wave of black flame and slammed into it. Boom! Bang! The time and destruction laws clashed, unleashing a wave of black and white light. God Lord Tyrant Dragon ignored this shockwave, relying on his powerful destruction dragon body to rapidly approach Zhao Feng. Destruction Dragon Soar. He opened his mouth, unleashing a savage black dragon at Zhao Feng. This black flame dragon was identical to God Lord Tyrant Dragon, almost like a clone. The only difference was that this dragon was formed from condensed destruction dragon flames. So powerful! A second heaven destruction dragon and an ancestral artifact fragment. In addition, this person's talent for combat, experience, and techniques are all extraordinary. Zhao Feng's heart tightened. The black flame dragon was about to attack, and its attack range was so vast that it would be difficult to dodge. And the Chaos Heaven black hole would probably find it difficult to block. BZZ. A determined look appeared on Zhao Feng's face, and his left eye flashed with dreamy light. The ninth God Eye? God Lord Tyrant Dragon's eyes flashed in anticipation. Dreamification. Dreamy mist began to spin out of Zhao Feng's left eye and seep into the world. In a flash, everything in front of him was covered in dreamy colors, dazzling and beautiful. But now was not the time to appreciate the scenery. The danger was still approaching. Break! Zhao Feng's consciousness focused on the flaming dragon in front of him. He thrust out a finger, firing off a bolt of Chaos Origin Divine Light. Puff! When the mixed Origin Divine Light touched the flame dragon suddenly dissipated like a bubble. The Chaos Origin Divine Light passed through it and vanished into the distance. Oh! This is the mystical ability of the ninth God Eye? God Lord Tyrant Dragon was pleasantly surprised. He had never seen this ability before. Even after seeing it for himself, he still couldn't understand the principles behind it. God Eye Duplication, Destruction Dragon Soar. Zhao Feng's left eye thrummed with origin energy. God Lord Tyrant Dragon, who was charging at Zhao Feng, suddenly stopped and sent his divine sense behind him. A dreamy silver eye that filled the sky was embedded in heaven and earth. At this moment, even his destruction dragon race bloodline felt suppressed. Buzz. BZZ. A dreamy mist emerged from the silver eye. Suddenly, a destruction black dragon flew out of the mist, baring its fangs and claws as it charged at God Lord Tyrant Dragon. This is? God Lord Tyrant Dragon was struck dumb. Zhao Feng had used the powerful combat skill he had just used. But that was impossible. This was a bloodline skill of the Destruction Dragon race, and Zhao Feng didn't have the Destruction Dragon flame, so how could he use it? But when he thought about the ninth God Eye, God Lord Tyrant Dragon stopped worrying. Kaboom! The Destruction Black Dragon crashed into God Lord Tyrant Dragon, its endless black flames igniting him. The Destruction Dragon race had the powerful Destruction Dragon body and Destruction Dragon flame. To a certain extent, these two energies could counter each other. Kaboom! God Lord Tyrant Dragon's body was covered in scorched marks, and the Destruction Dragon flame seethed. Chaos Origin Divine Sword. Zhao Feng's left eye immediately fired off a miniature Chaos Origin Divine Sword. The moment the Chaos Origin Divine Sword shot out, his left eye fired off several other powerful eye bloodline techniques, including the Tribulation Lightning Eye Flame, the Earth-Shaking Nova, and the Blazing Soul Devil Eye. All of these eye bloodline techniques were unleashed at almost the same time. This had happened before, and Zhao Feng couldn't understand why. But now, he was certain that this was also a manifestation of his come-true ability. He urgently wanted to unleash these eye bloodline techniques, so that they could be completed with incredible speed. Boom! Bang! Crash! Various powerful energies exploded on God Lord Tyrant Dragon's body. Time slash. The ancestral artifact fragment returned to Zhao Feng's hand, and he swung it a few times, unleashing several massive white crystal blades. God Lord Tyrant Dragon's ancestral artifact fragment had its own consciousness, and it unleashed powerful attacks in an attempt to block for its master. But one ancestral artifact fragment was attacking on its own while the other was being controlled by someone else. There was still a gap between the two. Boom! Bang! Crash! The black and white flames exploded, and a white crystal blade flew out and struck God Lord Tyrant Dragon. Go! Zhao Feng's expression turned grave as he circulated his space-time energy and fled. Although he had the advantage for now, the battle just now had consumed a significant amount of energy. Especially when using a law and using the Dream God Eye's abilities. Moreover, God Lord Tyrant Dragon was a second heaven, and his bloodline was ranked in the top 10 of the ancient races. He had deep reserves, and there was no guarantee that he had any trump cards. Victory would be extremely difficult, and he would probably have to pay an enormous price. A few moments after Zhao Feng left, damn, he actually ran? God Lord Tyrant Dragon raised his head to the sky and howled. The last time slash had struck him, and the time law energy had affected his body, causing his recovery speed, thoughts, and movements to slow down. Otherwise, Zhao Feng would not have been able to escape so easily. But God Lord Tyrant Dragon was heavily injured. Even if he caught up, his chances of victory were not very high. More importantly, Zhao Feng had the Time Ancestral Artifact Fragment. God Lord Tyrant Dragon probably wouldn't be able to catch up. Chapter 1467. In his first clash with the ninth God Eye, God Lord Tyrant Dragon had failed. No, how could I fail? A hint of panic appeared on God Lord Tyrant Dragon's face as if he had thought of something terrifying. Buzz. Bzz. Spatial ripples began to revolve around God Lord Tyrant Dragon. Gradually, the spatial vortex became smaller and smaller, but the spatial ripples only intensified. Swish. A moment later, God Lord Tyrant Dragon's body vanished along with the spatial vortex. God Lord Tyrant Dragon used spatial shift to quickly return to the hidden faction in the Gulong Zone's wretched Ghost Valley, the demon-defying palace. The secret hall was deathly silent. All the members knew that God Lord Tyrant Dragon had failed. Of course, even they were shocked. How could someone of God Lord Tyrant Dragon's strength have failed? Expand the intelligence network for me. If there is any news of Zhao Feng, report it to me immediately. God Lord Tyrant Dragon clenched his teeth and said, Yes. In the main hall, several people in charge of intelligence immediately responded. At this moment, a strange ripple came from God Lord Tyrant Dragon's interspatial dimension. His expression suddenly changed, and he took out an octagonal ancient token. The moment this token appeared, everyone else got down on one knee in shock and piously prostrated themselves. Buzz. Bzz. The The token rippled with chaotic streams of light that formed a hazy mist. Within the hazy mist of light, there was a tall and imposing figure that resembled a blurry shadow. Lord Protector. God Lord Tyrant Dragon had a respectful expression, but he was inwardly panicking. You failed. A cold voice came from within. These words caused not just God Lord Tyrant Dragon, but all the experts in the hall to break out in a cold sweat as if they could already sense death approaching. Please give me another chance. I will capture Zhao Feng as quickly as possible. God Lord Tyrant Dragon panicked as he hastily said, Okay, I'll give you a chance to make up for your mistakes. The blurry voice calmly said. God Lord Tyrant Dragon and all the experts of the demon-defying palace breathed a sigh of relief. The divine emissary has been mobilized. Assist him with all your strength. After the voice came from the hazy mist of light, it disappeared into thin air. Divine emissary? The eyes of the members in the hall constricted as if they had thought of something terrifying. I didn't expect that even the divine emissaries would be dispatched. God Lord Tyrant Dragon took in a deep breath. Divine emissaries were peak experts of enormous powers. Unless something major happened, they wouldn't reveal themselves to the world. But this time, the divine emissary had been dispatched. Zhao Feng, let's see where you can run to now. God Lord Tyrant Dragon's eyes gleamed with a savage light as he vanished into the flames. On the other side, Zhao Feng, who had escaped unscathed, did not find Xia Hou and Han Ning'er after flying for a distance. As such, Zhao Feng decided to use teleportation to return to the spirit race. He sat cross-legged in the void and fell asleep. This time, the place that Zhao Feng was thinking of was his residence in the spirit race. Once the scene at the destination changed, the teleportation would fail. He believed that there shouldn't be any changes to his residence. The Astrals. Buzz. Inside a palace in the core disciple domain, a distorted dreamy luster suddenly appeared. Then, a figure appeared from within the light. I'm back. Zhao Feng opened his eyes in pleasant surprise. He then left his residence and headed for the spiritual race's forbidden ground to report to the second elder. After all, it had been a very long time since he had left the spiritual race. Zhao Feng, you're back. The second elder was flabbergasted. When he learned of the rumors about Zhao Feng and the ninth god eye, he had been extremely worried. In the eyes of the world, the 8 great god eyes were the symbols of god kings, the supreme experts of the ancient desolate realm of gods. But this newly appeared ninth god eye had not yet matured to that level. In these circumstances, many factions would choose to rope in and befriend Zhao Feng. But even more factions might choose to steal the ninth god eye. Possessing the ninth god eye was equivalent to having a chance of becoming a god king. This was a great temptation to everyone, especially the divine masters of level 2 and level 3 heavens. When Zhao Feng disappeared, the second elder believed that Zhao Feng had died to someone else. Fortunately, Zhao Feng had safely returned. How is Yu Fei? Zhao Feng asked in concern. Once she learned of this, she worked even harder to cultivate. She said that she wanted to protect you. The second elder shook his head and smiled. Zhao Feng also felt a warmth in his heart and he smiled. The leak of information about the ninth god eye truly was a major problem. For example, God Lord Tyrant Dragon had targeted Zhao Feng for the ninth god eye. This sort of thing would not be rare in the future. At this moment, Zhao Feng could be described as a major problem, a star of calamity. Everyone would either fear him or fight over him. But Zhao Yufei was worried about what Zhao Feng was worried about. She wanted to get stronger so that she could bear the burden together with Zhao Feng. No one can take the ninth god eye away from me. Zhao Feng's eyes were firm and determined. Obtaining the ninth god eye truly was the greatest opportunity of his life, but he also had to bear the risk. I want to be so strong that no one will dare to have any designs on the ninth god eye. Zhao Feng's will to fight began to blaze. For the sake of his life, he had to rapidly grow. The second elder was correct. Second heaven god lords were not the only ones who desired the ninth god eye. There were also third heavens. Elder, are there any cultivation techniques for first heaven god lords and above? Zhao Feng asked. The chaos heaven void origin technique could only be cultivated to the peak of the first heaven. Although one could not use a cultivation technique, they could slowly advance or create their own and slowly explore. But this took too much time, severely hindering Zhao Feng's goal of rapid growth. The spiritual race does have a cultivation technique that can be cultivated to the third heaven, but it is only suitable for the spiritual race bloodline. The second elder shook his head. Zhao Feng was not surprised by this result. The reason there were so few god lords was partly related to the cultivation technique. After all, it was far too difficult to find a suitable cultivation technique, and an unsuitable cultivation technique would affect one's future potential. After chatting for a while, Zhao Feng returned to his residence. At his current level, the Chaos Heaven Void origin technique was enough for him to continue cultivating. Within the space-time robe, Zhao Feng entered seclusion. He had just become a god lord. Although his foundation was firm, it was still rather rushed. 3 years quickly passed within the space-time robe. In this period of time, Zhao Feng had been consolidating his cultivation strength. Within his body, the gloomy god altar was covered in strange inscriptions that would occasionally flash with light. At this moment, Zhao Feng's god altar was much sturdier than when he first broke through. At this moment, Zhao Yufei came to find him. "Brother Feng, it's great that you're fine." Zhao Yufei threw herself at him, her jade-like face resting on Zhao Feng's chest. In the continent zone, she had suspected that Zhao Feng was the 9th god eye. But after coming to the ancient desolate realm of gods and learning of the power of god eyes, she had dispelled this thought. She had never imagined that Zhao Feng really did possess the 9th god eye. "It won't be long before I become a half-step god lord, and with the heaven void god origin ginseng, I'll be able to become a god lord," Zhao Yufei seriously said. She was already a peak rank 9, but this was far from enough. She urgently wanted to increase her cultivation level so that she could help Zhao Feng. "There's no need to be in such a rush. I can protect myself." Zhao Feng tightly hugged the beauty in his arms, his will to fight intensifying. The news of his return was kept strictly confidential and had not been leaked out. Thus, Zhao Feng rarely went out, and Zhao Yufei only stayed here for a while before returning. "Now, I can begin to form my divine kingdom." Zhao Feng continued his seclusion. Only a god lord with a law could form a divine kingdom. The dimension of a divine kingdom was extremely compatible with the ancient desolate realm of gods, and it was even more unique. It could be used to plant all sorts of natural resources and raise rare beasts. The dimension of a divine kingdom was incredibly tough. Even god lords of the same level would find it very difficult to force their way in. If a god altar was the source of a god lord's power, then a divine kingdom was the second source. A divine kingdom could store energy for its owner to use. Similarly, a powerful divine kingdom could also be used as a means of battle. But a normal god lord would not take out a divine kingdom unless they were in mortal danger. The creation of a divine kingdom was extremely difficult. God lords had to spend an enormous amount of time and resources to create it. "I have enough resources to create a divine kingdom, but in terms of time," Zhao Feng fell into thought. Based on what he knew, a normal god lord would need several thousand years or even 10,000 years to create a divine kingdom. This period of time was nothing to a normal god lord, but to Zhao Feng, it was extremely long. Suddenly, Zhao Feng recalled the divine kingdom auction. A divine kingdom had been auctioned off for the high price of 11 million. This was because this divine kingdom could be directly refined into one's divine kingdom. Although the compatibility was not very high, it saved a great deal of time and resources. Directly refining a divine kingdom is much simpler than creating a divine kingdom. Zhao Feng couldn't help but begin to think. He had quite a few high-quality god crystals on hand. Perhaps he could consider buying a divine kingdom. But finding a divine kingdom that suited him was far too difficult. Does the ancient dream realm count as a divine kingdom? Zhao Feng suddenly remembered that his god's spiritual eye had a special dimension. The ancient dream realm was connected to the dream god eye, so it was undoubtedly suitable for the illusion god eye. Moreover, the structure of the ancient dream realm was not an ordinary dimension. It was very similar to the ancient desolate realm of gods. However, Zhao Feng had entered the light race's divine kingdom before, and the ancient dream realm was apparently much larger than the light race's divine kingdom. Let's give it a try. When he thought of this, Zhao Feng became rather excited and decided to give it a try. If he really could refine the ancient dream realm into his divine kingdom, then this divine kingdom would be suitable for him. He wouldn't need to worry about his future potential, and he would also be able to save a great deal of time. Swish! Zhao Feng's body vanished as he entered the ancient dream realm. In the territory of the blood flame Qilin race, Zhao Feng entered seclusion. Bzz. His soul intent left his body and fused with the world. At this moment, Zhao Feng felt like everything within a radius of several 100,000 li was under his control. In this area, he could kill anyone he wanted with a single thought. Bzzz. His eye intent surged out and fused with his soul intent, transforming into a massive silver eye of heaven. At this moment, the feeling of being in control of everything intensified, and its range increased by 10 sometimes. It should work. Zhao Feng had an intense feeling. Chapter 1468. It should work. Zhao Feng had an intense feeling. When he activated the Dream God Eye and fused it with the ancient dream realm, he sensed a connection between the ancient dream realm and the Dream God Eye. At this moment, his control over the ancient dream realm had increased by several dozen times. He could even sense places even further away, but his control was not strong enough. If I want to refine the ancient dream realm, it should be easier to start with the Dream God Eye. Zhao Feng made his decision after thinking for a few moments. Swish! He immediately got up and flew deeper into the ancient dream realm. Only after encountering quite a few powerful godlord ancient beasts did Zhao Feng slow down. As he passed by an icy valley, the temperature within the valley plummeted. Human, you dare intrude on my territory? A cold and sinister voice came out of the cold mist, and this cold intent invaded Zhao Feng's soul. Swish! In a flash, the lightning patterns in Zhao Feng's lightning soul body were activated, and the cold energy was pulverized. At this moment, a gray-white ghost appeared in front of Zhao Feng. The Ice Soul race, ranked 44th among the 10,000 ancient races. Zhao Feng immediately recognized this ancient race. The Ice Soul race was similar to the ancient Soul race in that they were also a race that cultivated the Soul Tao. The soul bodies of this race contained ice energy that could be used for both offense and defense. This Ice Soul race expert was a First Heaven God Lord, and its Soul Tao attacks could even threaten a peak First Heaven. Scram! Zhao Feng's soul intent soared into the sky and fused with the ancient dream realm. At this moment, the world was under Zhao Feng's control. Under the power of the world, Zhao Feng's strength multiplied while the Ice Soul race expert was greatly suppressed. Boom! A powerful soul will surged out and sent the Ice Soul race expert flying out of the valley. This is the place where I'll refine the divine kingdom and form its core. After making up his mind, his eye intent spread out and fused with his soul intent to form an eye of heaven. Buzz. Bzz. Zhao Feng circulated the divine power in his god altar and fused it with his soul intent. So easy! Zhao Feng was surprised. The time needed to refine a god nation was relatively short, but that was only relative to the time needed to form a god nation. However, Zhao Feng discovered that his divine power and soul power had easily seeped into this space and fused with it. Continue. Zhao Feng was pleasantly surprised and continued to refine it. Although the refining process was relatively easy, the ancient dream realm was much larger than an ordinary divine kingdom. In the following days, he refined the ancient dream realm. The refining process required a high level of control over one's soul strength. It was also a form of tempering one's soul will. In half a year, Zhao Feng's soul will had successfully reached the peak of the First Heaven. He had refined almost 1/10 of the entire ancient dream realm. This 10th of the region was under his control. Zhao Wan led the army of the ancient dream realm here to settle down. The region that Zhao Feng had refined could be considered the center of the ancient dream realm. The heaven-earth yuan qi and resources were better than the previous places. Zhao Feng also planned to build the core of his god nation here. 2 years later, the ancient dream realm was basically half refined. On this day, Zhao Feng stopped refining and rested for a while. Continuously using soul power to refine the ancient dream realm had a great impact on his mind. When he stopped refining, Zhao Feng searched for treasures in the region he had successfully refined. He took all the inheritances of various sizes for himself. Almost none of the inheritances Zhao Feng needed, but he could give them to the army of the ancient dream realm to train and increase their strength. Zhao Feng also started to divide up some of the natural resources to cultivate. A few days later, Zhao Feng left the ancient dream realm and returned to the spiritual race. Did something happen? With a sweep of his divine sense, Zhao Feng found that there were fewer core disciples of the spiritual race than before. The atmosphere of the spiritual race was also rather strange. Zhao Feng went to the forbidden grounds and found the second elder. The news of your return to the spiritual race has probably spread. The second elder sighed. For some reason, the news of Zhao Feng's return to the spiritual race had been discovered by a few intelligence organizations. The Xiling Zone and the nearby zones, both on the surface and in the shadows, had begun to pay attention to this matter. They would not openly attack the spiritual race, but they would make some small moves in the shadows, such as killing the spiritual race disciples that had gone out to obtain information on Zhao Feng. Recently, there were even quite a few experts who wanted to infiltrate the spiritual race. The spiritual race had discovered quite a few of these people, but there were probably some that the spiritual race had not been able to find. Zhao Feng's expression was extremely gloomy, and he said nothing. If this continued, the spiritual race would slowly be consumed and weakened. Once it reached a certain point, a major incident might occur. The spiritual race had just experienced a great war and had only just recovered its strength with great difficulty. If this continued, even if the other factions did not act, the blazing gold race would. Second elder, in a little while, I will go out to temper myself. Zhao Feng firmly said. Zhao Feng, you absolutely cannot. It's far too dangerous for you to leave the spiritual race. The second elder's expression flickered. Zhao Feng was a member of the spiritual race, and he also possessed the ninth god eye. Once he matured, he would become a god king. Coupled with the relationship between Zhao Yufei and Zhao Feng, even if the spiritual race could not become a sacred land, it would still reap massive benefits. Thus, the spiritual race's stance was to protect Zhao Feng. But the spiritual race could not protect Zhao Feng. The second elder could also tell that Zhao Feng did not want to implicate the spiritual race, which was why he had made this decision. The path of any expert is bound to be covered in thorns and drenched in blood. Zhao Feng calmly said. He could not remain in the spiritual race forever, and true experts did not emerge from seclusion, but from slaughter. In the outside world, countless people wanted to seize his ninth god eye. Zhao Feng wasn't going to be polite. Those who wanted to steal his god eye would become his stepping stones, helping him grow even faster and get stronger. Also, I have to go find the little thieving cat. Zhao Feng felt rather helpless. When his god eye awakened and he fell into a deep slumber, he used thought teleportation to return to the continent zone, but he left the little thieving cat behind. The little thieving cat was a Heaven's Legacy cat, and if it was discovered by someone who knew its secret, it would also be in danger. Of course, Zhao Feng felt that the thieving cat was definitely living a better life than he was. Be careful on your journey. The second elder could not refute Zhao Feng's words, and he even somewhat admired Zhao Feng's mentality. After returning to his residence and tidying up, he secretly left the spiritual race. At Zhao Feng's level, only a second heaven god lord skilled in the Soul Dao or Space Dao would be able to discover his whereabouts. It was obvious that there was no second heaven god lord hiding in the vicinity of the spiritual race to personally monitor him. Thus, Zhao Feng was able to smoothly leave the spiritual race without anyone noticing. Half a month after his departure, the second elder revealed that Zhao Feng had left. Of course, this was at Zhao Feng's behest. Once this news was spread, the spiritual race was no longer targeted. 3 months later, Zhao Yufei emerged from her seclusion. Upon learning that Zhao Feng had left the spiritual race, she decided to go out and temper herself. Although the second elder did his utmost to dissuade her, she failed. This was because Zhao Yufei had promised that she was not going to find Zhao Feng, but to temper herself. 3 years had passed since Zhao Feng had left the spiritual race. There had always been news of Zhao Feng's appearance, but no one knew if it was true or not. In the Tianhe Zone, an extremely dangerous forbidden ground, the burning heaven sea, everywhere one looked, one could see golden red flames, as if the entire world was on fire. Any external object that entered would be corroded by the endless flames. It was rumored that once a second heaven god lord entered the burning heaven sea, he was attacked by a god lord Yao god. Although he managed to kill the Yao god in the end, he was completely corroded by the flames. Unable to extinguish the flames, he ended up becoming a part of the burning heaven sea. One day, a silver-haired youth calmly walked into the burning heaven sea. This person was none other than Zhao Feng. After leaving the spiritual race, he headed to the God Lord forbidden grounds of the various major zones. There weren't many people in these dangerous forbidden grounds, so there weren't many people who could find him. Zhao Feng could train his strength in these forbidden grounds. In these 3 years, he had gone to a total of 5 God Lord forbidden grounds. There was a forbidden ground called the Blood Spirit Hell that was the most dangerous of the 5. Unaware of the details, Zhao Feng charged into the center of the Blood Spirit Hell and was attacked by countless blood gods. There was even a third heaven blood god, forcing Zhao Feng to use powerful techniques to retreat. After this experience, Zhao Feng put away his underestimation. The ancient desolate realm of gods was enormous, and there were many danger zones that not even god kings would dare to recklessly enter. Kaboom! Zhao Feng slowly advanced through the sea of flames. He was not focused on body tempering, so the burning heaven sea had a significant effect on him. These flames are rather special. Zhao Feng couldn't help but think as he sensed the golden red flames of the burning heaven sea. These flames were extremely powerful, and he found them rather familiar. Boom! A scorching ripple of energy suddenly came from the distance. Amidst the surging waves of fire, a golden firebird suddenly attacked. The creatures that lived in the burning heaven sea could undoubtedly exert the greatest power. At this moment, the flames around him seemed several times fiercer, placing immense pressure on Zhao Feng. Chaos Origin Divine Sword. Zhao Feng condensed a broad silver sword and clashed with it. His goal was to temper himself, so sometimes, Zhao Feng would place restrictions on himself to achieve the best results. Bang! Zhao Feng's powerful Chaos Origin Divine Sword slashed at the golden bird of fire. The bird of fire was at the first heaven, so it was extremely powerful in the burning heaven sea. However, Zhao Feng only relied on the Chaos Origin Divine Sword to obtain an overwhelming advantage. This was also the result of his tempering in the past few years. At this moment, Zhao Feng suddenly sensed something strange. Immediately, a chaotic flow of primordial chaos energy revolved around him, concealing his appearance. Suddenly, a red figure appeared in the sea of flames to his right. Die! The red figure arrived in front of Zhao Feng and thrust out a giant palm of fire. Even the firebird that was facing off against Zhao Feng was slightly frightened and quickly fled. Could it be that someone has discovered my tracks? Zhao Feng's eyes dimmed. Logically speaking, this was impossible. He hadn't encountered anything before entering the burning heaven sea, but he was ambushed by a god lord in the center. Chapter 1469. Could it be that someone has discovered my tracks? Zhao Feng's eyes dimmed. This was logically impossible. He hadn't noticed anything strange before entering the burning heaven sea, but while he was training in the center of the burning heaven sea, he was ambushed by a god lord. Moreover, this assailant was not to be underestimated. He was skilled in a fire law, and in an environment like the burning heaven sea, he was unprecedentedly powerful. Die! A red-haired elder with a venomous gaze appeared in the red light. Kaboom! He thrust his palms forward, unleashing several fiery palms that stirred up the endless flames of the burning heaven sea. At a glance, it was like several massive mountains of fire were smashing toward him. Zhao Feng gripped the Chaos Origin Divine Sword and quickly activated the Chaos Heaven Void Ring. Bam, bam. He swung the Chaos Origin Divine Sword again and again against the fiery palms. If he couldn't deal with the attacks, he would use the Chaos Heaven Void Ring to absorb them. In this dangerous forbidden ground, the surroundings were brimming with powerful energy, and the Chaos Heaven Void Ring could constantly absorb it to strengthen itself. After blocking the red-haired elder's first round of attacks, Zhao Feng put some distance between himself and the elder. "We've never met before. Good sir, perhaps there is some misunderstanding?" Zhao Feng calmly said to the man. This red-haired elder gave off the feeling that he purely wanted to kill him, not steal the ninth god eye. "It's fine if you don't know me, but it's fine if you do." The red-haired elder grunted as he charged forward again. Swish! A fire cloud saber appeared in his hand, its blade glimmering with blazing light and exuding monstrous power. In the clash just now, the red-haired elder had sensed that Zhao Feng's true strength was far greater than he had imagined, making him rather difficult to deal with. Thus, he had taken out his supreme quality divine artifact. Swoosh swoosh. As the saber danced, it unleashed fiery beams of light that pierced through the world like a surging river. "Umph." Zhao Feng coldly snorted. From what he could see just now, the red-haired elder had not come for the ninth god eye. He might have some other reason for wanting to kill him, or perhaps he was just a bloodthirsty person. If this person wanted to kill him, Zhao Feng didn't need to waste any more words. Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword. The primordial chaos sword in Zhao Feng's hand suddenly emanated the power of tribulation lightning. In the blink of an eye, the Chaos Origin Divine Sword was wrapped in lightning and transformed into a Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword. Boom! Zhao Feng slashed out, and the enormous Mixed Origin Lightning Tribulation Sword light pierced through the sea of fire. The red-haired old man was shocked. The divine power that Zhao Feng unleashed at this moment was extraordinary. Boom! Bang! The Mixed Origin Lightning Tribulation Sword light slashed at a flaming blade and directly penetrated it, splitting it in half. Moreover, at the same time as it consumed its power, the Chaotic Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword was also absorbing power from the surroundings to strengthen itself. Ding! The red-haired old man brandished the fire cloud long saber in his hand, shattering Zhao Feng's attack. This person, the red-haired old man pondered. Right at this moment, a powerful aura appeared behind Zhao Feng. Swift Wind Gate, retreat. The red-haired old man's expression changed slightly and he immediately retreated. It didn't take long for an azure-robed middle-aged man to arrive. Good sir was able to defeat Vermilion Bird Pavilion's Crimson Elder. It seems that your strength is extraordinary. Might good sir be a god lord? Perhaps this one has even heard of your great name. The azure-robed middle-aged man had a faint smile on his face. In the burning heaven sea, he gave off the feeling of a spring breeze. This one is Zhao Wang, a newly advanced god lord. I just happened to be passing by this place, but for some reason, I was suddenly attacked by Vermilion Bird Pavilion's Crimson Elder. Zhao Feng did not give his real name, instead using the name of his clone to probe. This was because Crimson Elder had suddenly left because he had seen the azure-robed middle-aged man. The people of Vermilion Bird Pavilion are extremely irascible and enjoy killing people for their treasures. If good sir does not mind, you can pay a visit to Swift Wind Gate. The azure-robed middle-aged man faintly smiled as he extended an invitation to Zhao Feng. No need. I'm just passing by. I won't be staying for long. Zhao Feng refused. Before the azure-robed middle-aged man arrived, his dream god eye had discovered him. At that time, the azure-robed middle-aged man's eyes were vicious and brimming with killing intent. But later, when the azure-robed middle-aged man noticed that Zhao Feng was fighting with Crimson Elder, his expression changed. He had only heard of the Vermilion Bird Pavilion and Swift Wind Gate mentioned by the azure-robed middle-aged man and didn't know much else. Since that's the case, I will bid farewell. In addition, good sir is already approaching the center of the burning heaven sea. If you continue deeper, the flames there will be unbearable for even first heaven god lords. The azure-robed man put on a warm-hearted expression as he warned Zhao Feng. Farewell. Zhao Feng calmly said a few words before gradually departing. This time, he did not continue deeper into the burning heaven sea, but observed from the perimeter. Could there be something strange about this place? Zhao Feng was rather confused. Vermilion Bird Pavilion and Swiftwind Gate were 5-star factions of the Tianhe Zone. But why would the god lords of 5-star factions gather in the forbidden ground of the burning heaven sea? Upon careful observation, he realized that there were many weak divine power auras in the burning heaven sea. It was obvious that many people had appeared in the burning heaven sea recently. Logically speaking, dangerous forbidden grounds should be sparsely populated. The more dangerous a forbidden ground was, the harder it was to see a single person. Thus, there was definitely something strange about this place. At a certain place in the center of the burning heaven sea, a spatial passage suddenly appeared in front of the azure-robed middle-aged man. He flew in, and the passage immediately closed. He flew quickly and arrived at a white crystal palace. BZZ. An illusory figure of white light suddenly appeared on a green jade throne in the palace. One could faintly make out an aged elder wearing a blue robe, exuding a tyrannical pressure that filled the entire palace. What's the situation? The blue-robed elder nonchalantly asked. It's not someone from Vermilion Bird Pavilion. The azure-robed middle-aged man indifferently said. You didn't get rid of him or drive him away? The blue-robed elder casually asked. It was best not to let outsiders know of their goal. Those who knew would either be temporary members of Swiftwind Gate or enemies of Swiftwind Gate. This person might be even stronger than Vermilion Bird Pavilion's Elder Qi. Although I sent an invitation, he did not agree. The azure-robed middle-aged man's gaze darkened. Following that, the azure-robed middle-aged man described the previous situation in detail. Keep a close eye on him. Vermilion Bird Pavilion definitely thinks that this person is from our Swiftwind Gate. Once this person is in danger, save him and do your best to rope him in. If he insists on leaving, then forget it. The blue-robed elder's eyes shone brightly. Yes, Gate Master. If this person is willing to help, our chances of obtaining that item will be greater. The azure-robed middle-aged man had a grim expression. Over the next few days, Zhao Feng roamed the burning heaven sea. However, he did not venture deep into the center of the burning heaven sea. At most, he roamed near the center. During this period, he tempered himself while investigating the oddities of this place. The person following me is from Swiftwind Gate. Zhao Feng had long discovered the persons secretly following him. Although the other party's concealment skills were very profound, they still could not escape Zhao Feng's eyes. However, the other party did not show any obvious malice, and Zhao Feng did not plan to make a move. Suddenly, an oppressive energy came from the distant sea of flames. Oh no! Zhao Feng sensed intense hostility. The azure-robed middle-aged man behind him rejoiced. Vermilion Bird Pavilion couldn't help but take action. If this person is willing to join Swiftwind Gate, I truly have to thank Vermilion Bird Pavilion. The azure-robed middle-aged man continued to remain hidden. Boom! A yellow-robed elder with thick eyebrows and rough skin charged out of the sea of flames. Die! The moment the elder appeared, he unleashed powerful divine power. A layer of dark yellow energy appeared in the world, causing Zhao Feng's body to pause. Second heaven! Zhao Feng's eyes widened in shock. He had already expected this person to be from Vermilion Bird Pavilion, but he had not expected them to send a second heaven godlord. Boom! In the sky above Zhao Feng, vast amounts of divine power condensed into a massive mountain. As the flames roasted this mountain, it took on a dark red hue and exuded an even more intense pressure. At this moment, the azure-robed middle-aged man rapidly approached. Friend, you've been targeted by someone from Vermilion Bird Pavilion. This person is Second Heaven God Lord Vastsoul. Let's retreat. The azure-robed middle-aged man swiftly approached Zhao Feng, acting as if he had just seen an injustice and was ready to lend a hand. Zhao Feng was powerful, and he also had a few tricks up his sleeve. Even if the enemy was a second heaven god lord, the two of them working together would be able to retreat and preserve their lives without any problems. Moreover, they could use this chance to rope in Zhao Feng and gain a powerful ally for Swift Wind Gate. Boom! Bang! The two of them attacked together, bombarding the dark yellow giant peak above them, shattering it. It really is Swift Wind Gate. No matter what tricks you have up your sleeves, this old man will leave you here today. God Lord Vast Soul coldly sneered as he unleashed a heaven-shaking pressure. Retreat! The azure-robed elder ignored God Lord Vast Soul. As long as he could bring Zhao Feng back to Swift Wind Gate, it would be a victory. But at this moment, the distant sea of flames exploded. Die! A red-haired elder suddenly appeared. This was none other than the Crimson Elder who had attacked Zhao Feng. Not good. There's another person. The azure-robed man grimaced. He hadn't expected for Vermilion Bird Pavilion to not only send a second heaven god lord, but also have the Crimson Elder hide in the shadows. Boom! Bang! Crush! Chaotic waves of divine power surged toward Zhao Feng and the azure-robed man. A second heaven god lord and the Crimson Elder. We'll probably die here. The azure-robed man's mind quickly turned. A few moments later, he made a decision. You cover the rear. I'll go back and get reinforcements. After saying this, the azure-robed man began to burn his divine power and circulate his wind law energy. An azure wind began to revolve around his body. Gradually, his entire body seemed to fuse into the azure wind. The azure-robed man transformed into a faint azure streak of light that shot off into the distance. Not even a second heaven god lord skilled in speed could catch up to him. There's nothing to be done. After getting some distance, the azure-robed elder sighed. Although he had failed to rope in Zhao Feng, he had framed Zhao Feng. If Zhao Feng were to face God Lord Vast Soul and the Crimson Elder alone, he would surely die. Since he couldn't help Swift Wind Gate, letting Vermilion Bird Pavilion kill him was not a bad idea. Die, brat! God Lord Vast Soul brought his palms together, and dark yellow earthen walls appeared on either side of Zhao Feng. Boom! The earthen walls suddenly began to press toward the center, exuding a powerful gravitational force that seemed intent on crushing Zhao Feng into pulp. Chaos Heaven Black Hole. Zhao Feng immediately unleashed a large amount of Chaos Origin divine power. The rings of light around him grew darker and darker until they were black, and they began to exude a powerful twisting and devouring power. Bang! The two dark yellow earthen walls crashed into each other. The heaven-shaking explosion caused massive waves to rise in the sea of fire. Suddenly, a suction force came from the center of the explosion. Boom! The power of the explosion and the fire elemental energy began to gather toward the center. It seems like I'll have to go all out. Zhao Feng's eyes were extremely gloomy. After this period of training, he could fight against a second heaven god lord even without using his god eye. As the dust settled, a pitch-black hole appeared in the center of the explosion, exuding a chaotic and profound energy. God Lord Vassal's eyes froze. He originally believed that even if Zhao Feng didn't die from his attack, he would be heavily injured, but the result was far beyond his expectations. Chapter 1470. God Lord Vast Soul was taken aback. He originally believed that even if Zhao Feng didn't die from his attack, he would be heavily injured, but the result was far beyond his expectations. This brat was actually hiding his strength. The Crimson Elder's face chilled. At this moment, Zhao Feng was even stronger than when they first fought. Perhaps this was precisely why the Swift Wind Gate God Lord had sent Zhao Feng to the back. I have to use this chance to eliminate him. God Lord Vast Soul angrily snorted. The stronger Zhao Feng was, the greater the threat he posed to them. This was the best chance. They had to kill him before the people of Swift Wind Gate arrived. Seal the heavens and solidify the earth. God Lord Vast Soul spread open his arms, unleashing vast waves of divine power. In a flash, the entire region darkened as a heavy pressure filled the world. God Lord Vast Soul had an earth law, so he was not affected much by the burning heaven sea. In fact, he was even strengthened. The earth energy of the world became scorching hot as the flames roasted it. Moreover, this heavy earth domain was still shrinking, and its gravity was continuously increasing. Chaos Heaven Black Hole, Devour. Zhao Feng activated the devouring power of the Chaos Heaven Black Hole. The pressure around him immediately weakened. As the Chaos Heaven Black Hole absorbed other energies, it was also strengthened. This kid's defensive combat skill can actually absorb other energies. Hurry and do it. God Lord Vast Soul was rather surprised and immediately called out. He extended his right hand and clenched his fist. Within the law domain, a dark and crude stone hand condensed in front of Zhao Feng. Boom. The stone hand hurtled toward Zhao Feng. Boom. Swish. The Crimson Elder immediately swung his saber, unleashing waves of flames that shook the world. Not good. These two are rather difficult to deal with when they work together. Zhao Feng's expression darkened. The attacks of God Lord Vast Soul and the Crimson Elder were rather powerful. The Chaos Heaven Black Hole wouldn't be able to last for long. Moreover, he was trapped in the second Heaven God Lord's law domain, so his speed was also limited. Unless Zhao Feng used his God Eye power or the ancestral artifact fragment, he would find it very difficult to escape. However, once these two appeared, they would incite the two people into a frenzy, and even the Vermilion Bird Tower behind them would be affected. Boom. Bang. Zhao Feng released the Mixed Origin Thunder Tribulation Sword and swung it around violently, trying his best to weaken the two's attacks. I can only use the power of the God Eye. Zhao Feng's eyes darkened. As long as he didn't make it too obvious, these people would find it very difficult to discover the ninth God Eye. However, at this moment, a relaxed and casual voice was transmitted to the battlefield of the three. Sir, do you need help? There's more. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. Before this, he didn't even notice it. Of course, part of the reason was that he had sealed the Dream God Eye's power and was surrounded, so he hadn't noticed. It's you, God Lord Vast Soul glanced over and grimaced. Zhao Feng looked carefully. It was a translucent young man in white. His aura was weak, and he held a white fan in his hand. He stood in the air with his body askew, and there was a smile in his eyes. Tang Bai, I advise you not to interfere in this matter. God Lord Vast Soul angrily threatened. So what if I interfere in this matter? If he's willing to join my team, he'll be one of my members. Tang Bai glanced at him, and then he smiled at Zhao Feng. How about it? If you join my team, I'll help you drive away these two old fellows. Zhao Feng was taken aback. Although Tang Bai was using this chance to threaten him, there was nothing threatening in his tone or attitude. Compared to Vermilion Bird Pavilion and Swift Wind Gate, Tang Bai had given Zhao Feng a very good impression. In addition, this person wasn't very old, but he had a peak First Heaven cultivation, which was rather surprising. Moreover, Tang Bai didn't seem to fear a second Heaven expert or the Vermilion Bird Pavilion behind God Lord Vast Soul and the Crimson Elder. This was proof that he wasn't simple at all. Tang Bai, don't think that we won't kill you. God Lord Vast Soul's face was red as he bellowed. Tang Bai was trying to rope in another God Lord in front of him. This was a naked provocation. But to his surprise, Zhao Feng didn't immediately agree. There's one more person. Zhao Feng was rather conflicted. Vermilion Bird Pavilion and Swift Wind Gate had both given him a bad impression, and he didn't want to join either of these factions or Tang Bai's team. If he got too close to outsiders, he would be more likely to expose his identity as the ninth God Eye. However, if he took out the ninth God Eye or the ancestral artifact fragment, these two sides would definitely ally together. Although Tang Bai was only a peak First Heaven, his strength could not be underestimated. Zhao Feng even sensed that he was stronger than God Lord Vast Soul. If the three of them worked together, they would be even more troublesome to deal with. If you join my team, I won't restrict you in anything as long as you come with me and participate in a major battle. In addition, I can give you a powerful secret art that can conceal your God Lord aura and identity. Tang Bai was in no rush as he continued. Even now, Zhao Feng was using a special layer of protection to conceal his appearance. This allowed Tang Bai to know that Zhao Feng didn't want others to know his identity. Thus, he tossed out a benefit that Zhao Feng particularly needed. If it's just a major battle, I agree to your invitation. Zhao Feng thought for a few moments before saying. Compared to Swift Wind Gate and Vermilion Bird Pavilion, Tang Bai had given Zhao Feng a very good impression. Moreover, Tang Bai was apparently just a small team, and he had promised that he wouldn't restrict Zhao Feng. Wasn't Zhao Feng's goal in this trip to temper himself? Battles were essential. Tang Bai was a peak first heaven, and if he participated in a battle, he wouldn't encounter any particularly dangerous situations. Moreover, Tang Bai could provide him with the secret art he needed. Deal. Tang Bai smiled as he flew over. No, God Lord Vast Soul panicked. He had just sent out a request for reinforcements, but it was probably too late. Bush. Tang Bai waved the white fan in his hand, unleashing waves of white light that seeped into the law domain around Zhao Feng. This law domain seemed to encounter its nemesis, and its power rapidly weakened. Kaboom! At the same time, Zhao Feng's Chaos Heaven Black Hole unleashed a twisting and devouring energy that destroyed the entire Earth law domain. That was sealing energy just now. Zhao Feng looked at Tang Bai and was even more convinced of the secret technique he spoke of. After breaking free, Zhao Feng charged at God Lord Vast Soul and the Crimson Elder. These people wanted to kill him, so Zhao Feng naturally wouldn't show mercy. Don't blame me for injuring my teammates. Tang Feng faintly chuckled as he charged at God Lord Vast Soul. Die! Zhao Feng wildly swung the Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword, sending dark bolts of lightning shooting forward. Seal! Tang Feng extended his hand, unleashing a strange white halo that engulfed the area in front of him. In a flash, a portion of God Lord Vast Soul and the Crimson Elder's energy was sealed, causing them to slow down. Kill! Zhao Feng charged at the Crimson Elder, his Chaos Origin Tribulation Lightning Sword increasing in power. God Lord Vast Soul was a second heaven, and his Earth Law was skilled in defense, making him rather difficult to deal with. Thus, Zhao Feng decided to kill the Crimson Elder first. Save me, God Lord Vast Soul. The Crimson Elder immediately called for help from God Lord Vast Soul. Under Tang Bai's sealing energy, the Crimson Elder could only use around 70% of his strength. At this moment, a strange time law energy descended on the Crimson Elder's body. In his weakened state, the Crimson Elder's resistance to the time law was weaker. A time law? It seems like I found a pretty good one this time. Tang Bai rejoiced. He had never seen a First Heaven God Lord with a time law before. Of course, the legendary light race might have such existences. Swoosh, swish. Several bolts of Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning energy slashed at the Crimson Elder's body. These attacks not only drained his energy, but they also made his wounds difficult to heal. Stop! God Lord Vast Soul gathered his divine power and unleashed a dark yellow dragon that roared forward. Just stay on the side and wait. Tang Bai waved the folding fan in his hand. Layers of white crystal light pierced through the yellow dragon and sealed its power. Bang! In the end, Tang Bai easily shattered it with a palm. On the other side, Zhao Feng stabbed his sword through the Crimson Elder's chest, the powerful Chaos Origin Tribulation lightning energy obliterating everything in his body. The Crimson Elder's body was ignited by the flames of the burning heaven sea and turned to ash. Boom boom boom. At this moment, a powerful ripple of energy came from the distance, and one could faintly make out the image of a warship. Time to go, Tang Bai said in a low voice as he brought Zhao Feng away. Not long after the two left, a domineering and imposing warship of scarlet gold flames descended. A red-robed woman charged out from the top of the warship. How was it, God Lord Vast Soul? Tang Bai and another God Lord worked together to kill the Crimson Elder. God Lord Vast Soul clenched his fists in rage. Damn, if this Tang Bai wasn't relying on his master, let's go back first. The red-robed woman's face darkened. On the other end, Zhao Feng had followed Mu Bai to another place in the burning heaven sea. BZZ. A dark blue passage formed, and the pair entered it. The Divine Kingdom was a land of verdant mountains and clear waters, and in the distance was a vast sea that stretched as far as the eye could see. With a sweep of his divine sense, Zhao Feng discovered that there were quite a few people in this divine kingdom, including 2 godlords and 8 half-step godlords. Relax. This isn't our full strength. Mu Bai faintly smiled. Then, he gathered the members of the divine kingdom and gathered them in a large hall. New member, Godlord Zhao Wang. Mu Bai introduced everyone else. With Mu Bai's introduction, Zhao Feng got to know the rest of the people present. The majority of these people did not belong to any sect or sect. One of the 2 godlords had even come from a zone next to the Tianhe zone. Since you've agreed to join us, it's time to tell you our goal. Tang Bai calmed down. Normally, a dangerous forbidden ground like the Burning Heaven Sea wouldn't have so many people gathered here. All of this is because 1 month ago, a godlord of Vermilion Bird Pavilion discovered the figure of an ancestral artifact fragment in the Burning Heaven Sea. A black-armored man said, "An ancestral artifact fragment." Zhao Feng couldn't help but be stunned. He hadn't expected for the Burning Heaven Sea to contain such a treasure. Of course, the majority of forbidden grounds had many rare resources or dusty treasures in the outside world. This was also why people constantly went to these dangerous zones. According to the intelligence, it should be a fragment of the ancestral artifact Blazing Hell. Tang Bai added, "You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."